Uh-oh. He's wearing down on us.
No, just been a long week. In a good way.
See what family does? Wears you out.
I had lunch with his dad yesterday.
Yeah, how was that?
Great.
Do they think we're a positive influence on him, or have we ruined his life?
No, he's fired up that he's working here.
Always very supportive. I'm lucky.
Wait till you start dating that Packer, Bears, or Vikings fan.
Yeah, that might not go over as well. Listen, you can work for Miller and Moulton, but you gotta dump the Packers chick. Right. It's one or the other.
For what you're getting paid here, I keep the Packers chick.
Maybe she's a part owner.
Does that improve her stock or hurt it? I mean, if you really think about it.
Oh, if she's a part owner, it tanks her stock. This is the dumbest gimmick in sports.
This from the guy who has 82 Lions jerseys.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. Happy Friday. Hope you've had a good week, and thanks for wrapping it up with us. Hold on one second. How the heck are you? We are Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. That's a pretty good voice for the end of the week, isn't it?
It is. You've been awake, alert. You've been ready to go this week. You had one day where you were dragging a little bit, and you admitted it early.
Yep.
But for the most part, high energy out of one David Moulton this week.
I don't know if we're ever sleeping a little better this week. Don't know what it is. But, fired up. Final Four weekend. And for arguably the first time for many a sports fan, it's Final Four weekend, where they may take in more than just the men's semis. In fact, hell, there's many a sports fan that's more likely to take in the women's semis than the men's semis. Never mind the fact that the men are on TBS.
Very funny.
We're going to keep reminding you of that throughout the show so that at 6 o'clock tomorrow, you're not going, where the heck's the games? So ESPN tonight for the women, TBS Saturday for the men, ABC Sunday afternoon for the women. That's how it goes. Our little programming update brought to you by. So I'm fired up for it. I am. And hopefully, over the weekend, the Marlins will win a game.
Oh boy. Well, fortunately, we did not bet them. I took your advice. First game at home for the Cardinals, we laid off.
Yep.
And wisely so, because the Marlins blew another lead.
Sure did. 2 errors, gave up 3 unearned runs, 5 runs, 7th. They lost 8-5. Yeah. 0-8, by the way, to start the season. Man, it makes the other 154 seem like a lot, doesn't it?
I've got to think that this clubhouse, I mean, you talk about gripping the bat tight and panicking a little bit, that 0-8 would make me feel uncomfortable coming to the ballpark every day.
Not only that, their 20-year-old stud pitcher has to have Tommy John. They found that out yesterday. Oh, the hits just keep on coming. It's the curse of Kim Hang. That's what it is. It's like the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. It's the curse of Kim Eng.
Like the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
I don't know. It's just, I think we could turn it into a song, is what I'm saying, if this
Gotcha.
continues.
Gotcha.
That's all.
Fourth capo starts at second capo starts in E minor. All right, let's move on. But no, I mean, it is a
like the ghost of Tom Joad. The curse of Kim Eng. No,
you're on a roll, David. I'm letting you fly now.
I'm trying to entertain this Marlins season somehow. I mean, we got to put it to song. I mean, 0-8, we're going down the country road here, aren't we? I mean, eventually they win a game, you get your car back, maybe your dog, 0-8, hasn't your girl left you? Is this a bad enough start if we're putting this to song that the Marlins have lost their girl?
Well, I've always believed that country songs are about three things: getting blanked up, getting blanked over, or getting blanked up after you got blanked over. And they're running into number 3 with this one, David, because I think they're drinking. I think the front office is after the game's going, oh boy, do we have brown stuff in the cupboard? Because I need some now.
Don't you think the Marlins, unless this road trip changes quickly, don't you think the Marlins come back from this road trip and she gone? There's a note on the counter in the key. Don't you think? I mean, 0-8, and you packed up and you had to leave town to go working for a week or so. And don't you think she said, I'm done here. This relationship's run its course.
Now this is Rounders when he comes back to the apartment and it's empty.
Exactly.
This is that scene.
And he understood. And
Right.
she loved him.
Right.
Okay. It broke her heart, but she had to leave. Right. So, man, 0-8. Are the Lightning ever going to lose again? I think it's a fair question. You went through the schedule yesterday. Not sure they lose before the playoffs. Hell, at this rate, do they have enough games left to not only catch Toronto? Hell, can they catch Florida and Boston? They're so hot. They can't. I'm just being silly. But what, 10-1-1 or something like that?
10-1-1 in their last 12 games.
Holy mackerel.
They are definitely the team that nobody wants to play in the first round of the playoffs.
No. The difference right now between being the Rangers and the Bruins is huge. The Bruins a point back. The Bruins would get the Lightning if the playoffs started today. By the way, the Lightning are 2 points behind the Leafs. The Lightning are trying really hard to give us a Panthers-Lightning first-round series. How about that if you're the Florida Panthers? Put together the best roster you've ever put together. If you turn around and Braden Point's taking the opening face-off of the playoffs, holy mackerel. Oh, I can't wait for the hockey playoffs.
The first, I've said it a lot for a long time. I love the Stanley Cup Finals, don't get me wrong. But the NHL and NBA playoffs take two different courses. The NHL playoffs start off at such a fevered pitch that to me it's impossible for them to maintain that level of play for 4 rounds with the physicality. The bodies run out. Whereas the NBA playoffs build to a crescendo, that they're not usually as good in the opening rounds, and when you get to the finals, you get better play, conference finals and finals. But the first couple rounds of the NHL playoffs are going to be amazing. Amazing, David.
I will say the Western Conference playoffs could be, in basketball, could be amazing. I mean, they really could. If you get the certain matchups, I mean, whether or not you get the Clippers or Dallas or Phoenix, and I mean, who could be playing? First off, the play-in right now is the Lakers and the Warriors, which would be like the second time in 3 years they've met in a play-in.
And the other one, for that matter, is the Kings and the Suns. I mean, KD and the boys are in a play-in game right now.
Exactly. Right. They put that super team together, and they're like the 7 or 8 seed out west. And then also, depending on, you're going to get Denver, Minnesota, Oklahoma City. Who matches up with who better? A first-round series is Clippers-Mavs, I think, right now. That's a first-round series.
Right.
I mean, if you're into the association at all, the Western first round could be as good as the first round of the NBA playoffs has ever been.
And the East will be fun. We'll figure out who's going to end up getting beat by Boston every round.
Well, although let me tell you something. The Sixers with Embiid look as if they're like, hello, we're coming. The big fella had about 9-10 weeks to get his knee right. We're coming. No dysfunction on this team this year. No Ben Simmons, no James Harden. Nope. We got the big fellow with not a lot of tread worn off his tires heading into the playoffs. Yep. That was a fun game in Miami last night, especially for a regular season game. Two teams actually wanted to play. You don't get that most nights in the NBA. That is one of the things really working against that league. But last night, two teams showed up. Philly with their roster, Miami with most of their roster, and they went at it.
And can I offer you congratulations because I cursed you via text last night.
I can't believe mid-second quarter you would be cursed. This is the NBA. So what? They're down 19. It's mid-second quarter. I mean, we're not even done with
David,
the appetizers.
To be honest, some of these games turn into 40-point games on a nightly basis in the NBA. And the Knicks, who had lost how many in a row coming into last night's game?
They had lost 3 in a row, and so
and looked like they were ready to lose a fourth.
Yes, they were down 19 mid-second quarter. They got off to a rough start against Sacramento.
Who can score?
And they got some bad news before the game. Julius Randle's out for the year. He's not coming back from that shoulder injury. And that means the Knicks can't do anything.
Right.
The Knicks will be, if they win a first-round playoff series, that's the most they can do with who they're going to have heading into the playoffs. So it was a tough day. It just took them an hour. They had to shake it off.
And they did.
Yeah. They're the football team that all of a sudden, like I'll do this for Trent. Packers get the ball, go down the field, score. Goff throws a pick six. Actually, you look up, it's mid-first quarter, you're down 14-0. You're like, what the heck? That's what that was.
All right. In a league where there are blowouts every night.
I know.
And they were delivered bad news before the game. I thought the blowout might have been coming.
Oh no, you sent the text. Like, listen, basically, ladies and gentlemen, the text, it didn't say this specifically, but it strongly implied it. All right. We're never listening to you again.
The text simply just said Knicks down 19.
Right.
That's all.
The simplicity of the text spoke volumes.
This was after David and Trent were waxing poetically about winning the second half of a doubleheader.
Right. Whew. That's pulled one out of there. Get the split. Made Miller and Moulton a winner.
And then the Knicks, with a double New York win for Miller and Moulton, we're on a roll again.
Unfortunately, during that time, the Marlins blew another lead in the late innings and lost. Otherwise, we would have had a trifecta.
No, we didn't bet the Marlins.
Whoa! You didn't?
No.
Well, David, you were wavering at the end of the show.
You wavered hard. You said, we're not betting them. It's their first game, Cardinals home opener. I don't want to bet it. So I didn't bet it.
I didn't want to, but we had said 2 days earlier we're going to keep betting the Marlins till they win. They got to win here, right? Oh, okay. So we had a perfect night?
We went 2-0.
Oh, thank goodness. We're down to about $9.
We were getting low. It was almost ready to redeposit.
No. Never want to reach back into your hip pocket. That's like when you go to the casino and you in your hand, this is the money I'm going to use tonight. Do not let me take out my wallet. And about 2 hours in, you're reaching for your wallet and your buddy says to you, what are you doing? Shut up. Leave me alone. Okay.
Boy, I resemble that statement. Give me my ATM back.
Exactly. We all have.
You told me not to give your ATM back. Give me my card. My ATM back now.
If you want to still be friends with me, you'll give me my wallet back. Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Kilo's dad. I took the wrong boost. I took the Bam out of Bio one, which had no shot. Stupid.
Yeah, he doesn't bet hockey boosts. He only does hoops. You know those youngins, they love the association.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you. I allow myself one boost a night. No more than one. Took the wrong one.
To Kilo's dad there, it's that Mark Miller, it's the David Moulton.
Yeah, David, your following to followers ratio on X is very impressive. You're following 110 people.
Yeah, and I could probably, if I really wanted to, cut that down. there's a bunch of people that I just don't want. Because I guess you can tell if somebody unfollows you.
Yep.
Yeah, see, I don't pay attention to that thing. I don't know. So
Well, you can tell if they unfollow you, but you don't get like a notification or anything. It just doesn't say. If you go to someone's profile who's following you, it'll say follows you.
no, I know that, but I'm just saying that I guess, like if I unfollow someone, eventually they figure that out, and it's like, hey, why did he unfollow me? That blankety blank. So there are a whole bunch of people that are, used to be part of my life on a regular basis, and now I just stay connected to them by following them on X. Oh, Sonny, if you were on Seton Hall, how about that final 3 minutes of the game last night? Broke the Sycamore's heart. At Hinkle, no less. Yes, they did. And then the Hall scored the last 9 points of the game.
Wow. And it was an under, too.
Really? That was under?
Yeah, I thought that's 150. I thought right at the number, basically.
I was going to say that's a pretty high over under if 156 is an under.
Yeah, 159 was the over under.
Look at that.
Because somebody in the Twitch chat room bet the over. Here we
go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. We are Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Check us out, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. You can see the two of us. Mark must be playing golf today. He's wearing a collared shirt.
Yep.
Either that or he's got a business appointment. He does that real estate thing on the side.
Not a lot of listings these days. In case
No.
you're looking, I'm wide open. Text 21,000. I'll take off golf and meet with you today.
See, that's how important you are to Mark. He'll even pass on the round of golf for you, huh? There you go. That's got to be a minimum requirement for a real estate agent, right? Hey, no, you're important. No, here, I'll show you how important you are to me. Hey, guys, yeah, I can't make the 1253 today. Sorry. No.
Exactly.
I got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. All right. I got to, I'll do it next week.
There you go.
So, Miller and Moulton. Hey, I got to admit, maybe it's us getting older, but the car wreck side of sports, and I don't mean NASCAR, is really starting to entertain me. This A's situation, I just find, David Sampson was into it long before we were, but it's growing on me. Now, it might be growing on me like a nail fungus, but it's growing on me. So now apparently they're going to go to Sacramento for 3 years. They're going to play in a AAA ballpark, which has, I guess, 10,000 permanent seats, but they've got mounds beyond the outfield wall, and apparently 4,000 people can sit on the grass. So capacity is 14,000. Seats are 10, but they can sell 14,000 tickets a night. And this is Major League Baseball.
Yep. And we have the NHL playing in a college barn.
They do. Yes, we do. For
In
2
Tempe.
years now. And there'll be at least 2 more. Although, I don't know if you heard, Mark, late yesterday, the Coyotes said they put a video presentation together and everything. They said, here's our next home. And they've got this land I don't know, West Phoenix.
Was it a video of Salt Lake?
I believe it was produced by the Houston Chamber of Commerce.
Right.
No, they still think they're going to remain in Arizona.
It is Bettman's Hill. He does not want this team to leave Phoenix at all.
No. He was fine with shutting down the league for a year, but I'll be damned if we're going to take hockey out of the desert.
Damn it, this is going to work, and I said so.
Boss, we've tried this for 20 years. We're not leaving. Boss, nobody wants them. All right. We've had a tenant kick them out. We've had cities vote them down. We're not leaving.
What I like about the A's of Sacramento is it's, like you said, it's for 3 years.
Minimum.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Because it could be 4. And wait a minute, it could be 5.
And in fact, the guy behind Sacramento has very quietly said to the A's, if you want, it could be forever. Let me know. I can help make it happen. You know, we didn't talk about this yesterday. We talked about, was it Tuesday night that the voters in Kansas City, in the 2 counties there,
Yes.
They said we are not continuing with the 3/8 of a cent tax that you guys have been paying for 40 years. We're not going to keep paying that tax to fund what the Royals and the Chiefs want. Did you hear what the mayor of Dallas said the very next morning? The mayor of Dallas, a young guy, popular, came out and said the Chiefs should move back to their original home, Dallas. And he makes this case about how big our city is, how much we love football. We got plenty, we can build them whatever they want, you name it. And trust me, you do just fine here.
Mr. Mayor,
What?
Jerry Jones on line 1.
Wait, what? I mean, I guess we got 2 teams in quote unquote New York, 2 teams in LA, although one of them's the Chargers. Nobody's aware that they're actually there.
They're barely aware that the Rams are there and they won a Super Bowl.
Yes. I mean, if it wasn't for that stadium, they'd be like, what's going on over there? But yeah, he came out. Man, those politicians sometimes, they get a good night's sleep. The ideas that they come up with are nuts.
Well, it's why I actually commend the voters of Kansas City for saying, no. We're not subsidizing 2 more stadiums. But the minute you say no, there's 10 other cities that are popping their hand up going, oh, no, we will. We'll spend all of our county's money on you. Don't go to your hip pocket. We can take care of it.
Now, not to spend a ton of time on this, but the Chiefs are going to be fine. They may have to pull what the Giants did 50 years ago when they left New York and they went across the border and they had a stadium built for them in the suburbs, so to speak, or the swamp, which one or the other. I mean, the Chiefs, literally, the state of Kansas will give them whatever they want, right? I mean, literally right across the line. So the Chiefs will be fine. But, I mean, the Royals, they could entertain the idea of leaving, couldn't they? I mean, it's a small market as far as major league franchises go.
They could. But baseball doesn't want any, and you know this, David. Baseball wants nobody else. I mean, they didn't want the Oakland A's to move. They want stable franchises because they want expansion badly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see them wanting a franchise to move before they get their 2 new franchises.
Manfred's like, can I just get shovels in the ground in St. Pete? Okay. And can I get shovels in the ground in Vegas? Please. They want to knock the casino down anyway. Knock the damn thing down. Come on. Let's go. Build a new one. So I don't know. I'm enjoying all this. And once again, the Coyotes, they actually seem to really want to stay in Arizona. I'm sorry, Salt Lake City on line 1. Oh, wait, hold on. Houston on line 2. Oh, wait, Portland on line 3. Hello. So I don't know. I'm enjoying the car wreckage. That is, the franchises. And what are they doing? Where are they going?
The Chargers couldn't even sell at the soccer stadium.
Well, only if the Steelers and the Eagles fans showed up could they
Right.
sell it out. Listen, they could end up with Marvin Harrison Jr. Apparently, Mark, quarterbacks are going 1 through 17 in the draft. Everybody's taking a quarterback. Until literally there are none on the board anywhere.
And we know half of them are going to be busts.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Guaranteed. Yep.
Could be a poll question today.
What's that?
Which of these quarterbacks will be the bust?
Ooh, the bust.
The bust.
Ooh. Well, you have to go with the big 4 then.
Exactly.
So you leave Penix and Nix out of it.
Right.
Okay. I like it. We can go with that. You type that up during the break. I'll come back with the starting 5. Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So did my dad tell you about his Masters tickets fiasco yesterday?
No.
He got them, but he just got them. Like they got mailed down here to my aunt and uncle's place. He was supposed to get them a long time ago, but the woman who was handling his booking or whatever, she retired or something. So there was a new person and he wasn't notified. It was a whole thing. So he was concerned he wasn't even going to get them.
Oh, gosh.
And they had a whole plan. If they didn't, they were like, well, if we don't get him, we're just going to go up to Nashville. What was the last major relocation in sports?
Well, the
Chargers?
Chargers.
It's been a
and
while.
Rams.
That was when? 2016? 2015?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a little bit without anything new.
I mean, was it Charlotte who moved to New Orleans? Who moved
Yeah.
to New Orleans?
Charlotte, but then they started the Hornets again.
Right.
That was such a weird thing. And I think that was 2012 or 13, one of the two. Because Anthony Davis played 1 year as a Hornet.
Well, I love the fact KD played a year as a Sonic.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I remember growing up, that video game. Was that in 09 when they left? Seattle? Or 08 maybe? Either way, it was whatever video game that was. It was NBA Live from that year. And the Thunder weren't the Thunder. It was Oklahoma City. And they had like black and white uniforms because they didn't know what the mascot was going to be yet. So they were in the game as just Oklahoma City.
Yeah, 08 is when they left.
Gotcha. Is KD the greatest player in that franchise history?
He played a year for him.
Or, I mean, OKC/Seattle. Or would you give it to Gary Payton? Would you give it to Russ?
It's probably, I mean, it's tough to count KD as a Sonic. I mean,
No, but he's saying Oklahoma
I know.
Sonics. You know, the franchise history.
well, KD led him to one finals. Peyton led him to one finals.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. An hour from now, Bill Bender will join us. He's covering the women's Final Four for the Sporting News, but his main beat is college sports, especially football. We're going to talk to him about this. What's it? The CFT?
College football tomorrow?
Or college sports tomorrow?
College
CST,
sports tomorrow.
CFT, something like that. I don't know. Is it a time zone? What is it? It's an idea. So we're going to talk to Bill Bender about that. Pat Kirwan to talk all things NFL in a little more than an hour, as there's even more developments in the Stephon Diggs trade. And Nicki, the Baylor women's coach, she will join us 2 hours from now. That's right. The women's Final Four getting its own segment. It's a BFD. Speaking of which, you got that poll question?
Oh, it's up.
All right. What is it again?
Which of the top 4 rated quarterbacks is most likely to be a bust?
No. So you got Caleb Williams, got Jaden Daniels, Drake May, and
J.J. McCarthy.
the legend that is J.J. McCarthy. I mean, is he like the Loch Ness Monster? I mean, it's because supposedly J.J. McCarthy is going to be this great quarterback. Didn't he throw like 9 passes in college? I mean, do we know that he's a great thrower of the ball? I mean, have we seen it? That's what I'm asking. We know he's out there, but have we really seen it? I mean, Mark, they beat Penn State. The last pass he threw in that game was mid-second quarter.
Correct. But all he does is win, David. He's a winner. He's a leader. It doesn't matter.
Okay. We've heard that before, though. I mean, Matt Leinart, finished first in a Heisman, finished third one other time in a Heisman, lost like 2 college games in 3 years. I mean, how'd that NFL career work out? He's a leader. He's a winner. Accurate. How'd that go? I mean, that's all I'm just wondering. I mean, did Harbaugh, keep this great secret weapon boxed up? Or is there a reason he only threw like 9 passes?
You know what will be fascinating is when the Patriots take Marvin Harrison Jr. and J.J. McCarthy's on the board at 5. And I know they have Justin Herbert, but Harbaugh said this is the best quarterback in the draft.
Right.
How could you pass up on him then?
If he's so good and he's cheap, why are you not taking him?
Trade your guy to Denver or Minnesota and bring in J.J. McCarthy. Come on, Jim.
So that's our poll question. Which one of the big 4 is going to be a bust? That Mark Miller. I'll retweet it here soon enough. The David Moulton and Miller_Moulton on X. 19 minutes before the hour. It is time for
The Starting 5. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
I mean, how'd that Steve Walsh thing work out? How'd that Gino Torretta thing work out at the next level? How'd that Ken Dorsey thing work out at the next level? Leaders of men, winners, accurate. I'm just saying. And they actually threw the ball in college. We actually saw them in everything. Right.
A lot.
No? Okay. Women's Final Four gets underway tonight, 7 o'clock. Undefeated South Carolina. And nobody's talking about them. 36-0. Do you know they're an 11.5-point favorite over NC State? And then they say it's going to be at 9 o'clock. It's going to be at like 9:45. I'm just telling you right now. UConn and Iowa. Iowa, 2.5-point favorite. Winners play 3 o'clock Sunday on ABC. Games tonight are on ESPN. Men's Final Four tomorrow on TBS. Basically 6 and 9 o'clock. Give or take a few minutes either way. You got Purdue, NC State. Purdue a 9.5-point favorite. That's the early game. Hurley was pretty funny yesterday, the head coach of UConn. They literally didn't arrive till 3:30 in the morning Phoenix time. He showed up and he said, listen, 2 things can be true. All right. We can't complain. We're lucky to be here. We're in the Final Four, the whole deal. It's an honor to be here. First world problems. He goes, now, on the other hand, it sucked.
Hey, I don't know how you can hate the guy. He is brutally honest. He doesn't speak in coach talk.
Nope.
I love him.
UConn an 11.5-point favorite against Alabama. He also had a really good line. Apparently, him and the Alabama coach are tight, Nate Oates. And so he said, listen, I feel really good about our game because somebody that I really care about is going to be coaching in the national title game Monday. I just love me more. I'm with you, Mark. I mean, to be the big bad gorilla, I don't know. They're fairly likable. Other men's basketball news yesterday. The Muss Bus is going from Fayetteville to L.A. Eric Musselman. He's a West Coast guy. His wife, Danielle, West Coast person. This is a dream job for Musselman. All right. I don't know if he'll leave USC unless they get rid of him. So he left Arkansas for USC. And they're talking the Kansas State coach, Jerome Tang. They're talking the Ole Miss coach, Chris Beard. Okay. Arkansas will get somebody good, and they'll do it quickly. By the way, the NIT title game was played last night. Hasn't been at Madison Square Garden for a couple years. They did Vegas. They didn't like it. They moved it to Hinkle Fieldhouse. And they've had big crowds in part because Indiana State was in the title game, and they had a 7-point lead with 3 minutes to go, and then they didn't score again. And Seton Hall scored the final 9 points of the game to win it, 79-77. The Pirates of Seton Hall. Two teams that most people felt should have been in the tournament ended up playing for the NIT title with Seton Hall winning. NFL, very interesting what the Texans did yesterday. Stephon Diggs had years left on his contract, but they voided all of them except this year, and they gave him an extra $3.5 million to play this year. So Diggs is A, going to be better compensated, and B, highly motivated because he's a free agent after 2024. But it also means that the Texans, and yes, they're getting a 5th and a 6th round pick over 2 drafts, but they're giving up a 2nd round pick that they had, even though it's the Vikings 2nd round pick. They may be renting Diggs for a year.
Maybe they are. Diggs is, unless they pay him, unless he plays so long that they pay him. But
right. So Diggs, though, going to be well compensated and highly motivated this year for the Texans. The Eagles signed their left tackle, Jordan Mailata, to a 3-year, $66 million extension that makes him like the 4th highest paid tackle in the league, which is good because their right tackle, Lane Johnson's the 5th highest paid tackle in the league. Eagles putting their money where the big hombres are. By the way, Mailata's a hell of a story. Wasn't he a rugby player? 7th round pick, something like that? This is a hell of a story, and now look at him. And speaking of big old offensive tackles, La'el Collins signed a 1-year deal with the Bills. So there, they had little money left, and they gave La'el some of it. Baseball. Hey, how about them Marlins? They're 0-8. And to make matters worse, their 20-year-old stud pitcher, Yuri Perez, he has to undergo Tommy John surgery. 8-5 Cardinals over the Marlins in the St. Louis home opener. 5 in the 7th did it. Marlins 2 errors led to 300 runs. That never helps. Tigers and Mets split a twin bill. Detroit won the first game 6-3 and 11. Had a 1-0 lead in the 9th. In the nightcap, Alonso homered. Mets rallied for 2 and got their first win of the year, sending the Tigers to their first loss of the year, 2-1. Pirates off to a 6-1 start. Thank you very much. 7-4 over the Nats. Guardians double up the Twins 4-2. Cleveland 6-2. And Royals with 8 in the 7th beat the White Sox 10-1. A's are moving to Sacramento for the next 3 years to play in the minor league stadium that's the home to the Giants AAA team. So they're going to have double occupancy, Mark, for the next 3 years. And that basically means, right, damn near every day for 6 months,
there'll be a game.
Sacramento, because if the A's aren't playing there, the Giants AAA team will be
right.
playing. The other thing that's going to be good for the Giants AAA team, guys, is they'll invest in the locker rooms and stuff. Because the MLBPA, by the way, has to sign off on this. And the Players Association has not given the okay. And they have publicly come out and said, yeah, we got a few issues. We'll talk to the commissioner about it. Now, obviously, the commissioner's not going to want them to put the kibosh on it. So the players, I don't know what they can get from this.
Well, David, let me just ask this question. Is there any way possible, and I mean any way possible, that the facilities in Sacramento can be worse than the facilities at the Oakland Coliseum?
No, I've walked the bowels of that stadium. Second to last Raiders home game. No. It is a dump. No. No way. 100-year-old hockey barn is better than the Oakland Alameda Coliseum, Mark. It's heinous. It's awful. 14,000 is capacity, though. 10,000 seats, and 4,000 can sit on the grass. It's a lovely lawn seating. Popcorn, peanuts. NBA, Maxey with 37, Embiid with 29. Sixers rally late, beat the Heat 109-105. Look out for Philadelphia with a healthy big fella. Just saying. The standings may say they're in 8th. Right now, guys, quickly. A healthy Embiid. Where's Philly on the pecking order in the East?
I think they're 2.
Third at worst.
I don't trust Milwaukee at all.
Knicks are banged up. Cavs are banged up. Heat are banged up. Nobody believes in the Pacers. Bucks can't win on the road. Knicks snap a 3-game skid, beat Sacramento by 11, but they announced Julius Randle out for the year. He's going to need shoulder surgery. He got hurt in late January. Mavs are the 5 seed in the West right now. They beat Atlanta 109-95. Golden State basically eliminated all doubt out West as to who's going to be in the play-in game because they beat Houston by 23. They're 4 up on the Rockets with 6 to play for the final playoff spot. And a good one in L.A., Jokic at 36 points, 17 rebounds, 10 assists, and the Nuggets still lost to the Clippers 102-100. Right now, Minnesota is the top seed in the West by a game in the loss column. Denver's the 2 seed, and the Clippers are the 4. NHL, the Lightning are on fire. 10-1-1 in their last 12. Kucherov a goal and 2 assists. Stamkos 2 goals. He's got 34. Lightning 7-4 over Les Habitants. Panthers snapped their skid 6-0 over Ottawa. Bobrovsky with 30 saves. Florida did announce Aaron Ekblad out for the rest of the regular season. They do expect him back for the playoffs. Ekblad. Bruins 4-1 over the Canes. They're a point behind the Rangers for the top spot in the East. Islanders beat Columbus 4-2. It means they're the final wild card team at the moment. They're a point ahead of Washington and Detroit, and 2 points ahead of Pittsburgh, who beat Washington 4-1. Ovechkin scored goal number 849. And Nashville all but secured a playoff spot by doubling up St. Louis 6-3. The Blues are in trouble. The playoff teams out west are pretty much determined. Valero, Texas Open. 22-year-old American lefty Akshay Bhatia. Shot a 9.
That household name there on the PGA Tour. Say that again for us.
Well, I might have mispronounced it. It's Akshay Bhatia, Bhatia.
Okay, we'll go with it.
Bhatia. All right, he shot a 9 under 63. He's got a 3-shot lead in San Antonio. Rory, Hideki, Homa, Ricky, and Spieth are some of the names that are playing the week before the Masters. Spieth, by the way, with the best scorecard you'll see in a while. 5 bogeys, a double, 4 birdies, and a hole-in-one in a 1/73. And at 7 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
LIV's in Miami at Doral. And they're in Vegas on the LPGA Tour. They got a 4-way tie for the lead there, including 20-year-old American Rose Zhang. So there you go. We're up to date. And we got a poll question all in the first hour of the show. That's pretty good for a Friday, huh? Miller and Moulton?
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, find the perfect piece to elevate your style at the Diamond District.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you remain a Van Halen fan after Diamond Dave left?
Yes.
Not initially.
Okay. But it's aged well for you?
It's aged incredibly well.
Okay.
I liked Sammy.
I love Sammy.
Yeah.
No. See, I love Sammy. I love Sammy solo. I love Montrose. No. Get on your bad motor scooter and ride. I'm in. But
Plus, for whatever reason, unlike Journey kicked Steve Perry out, I didn't get the feeling that Eddie kicked David Lee out.
No, it was David Lee Roth's decision.
Right. And so I wasn't going to hold it against the band. All right. Yeah. Wants to do the solo thing because Steve wanted to stay in Journey and also be able to, because obviously his solo stuff was very different than what Journey was producing.
Yeah, I guess the story is like Eddie and Alex were about to quit. They were just like the band was going to be done when David Lee Roth left, but then his car broke down and Sammy's car broke down and they met somehow through that. I don't know. Crazy stuff. 5150 is my favorite Van Halen album. I know that's an atrocious take to a lot of people, but I love it.
It's the wrong answer.
I mean, I know the other albums are better.
Fair Warning's the right answer.
Really? Not the original?
No,
Just
Fair
Van
Warning.
Halen one?
Fair Warning. Even Michael Anthony thinks Fair Warning's their best album.
Okay. Well, what he says is gospel.
Tell you what, though, that debut album for rock albums, I think it's a top 10 debut album.
Hey, look, one's going to have more traction than Fair Warning. Fair Warning just rocks.
Yeah,
it is just
it
it's like Led Zeppelin 3. Fair Warning is a very underrated album in the Van Halen catalog.
It hit me hard when Eddie died, and I started listening for that week. Sirius devoted a channel to it, and I'm listening, and I'm like, man, these guys were big in my life. Plus, when VH1 came out, it was right at the end of disco, or it was actually when disco was still going, and then this album came out, and it was like, oh my goodness. Listen to this. Man, did I jam Van Halen on the way to school. Golly.
Yeah, I wish we had that. We didn't have that. It was all you were jamming Kendrick, which isn't bad. It's just different, I
was just seeing that J. Cole responded to Kendrick's.
He dropped a release,
a 7-minute track to respond to Kendrick's diss track
on a surprise album at like 4 a.m. It was crazy. Some of the biggest J. Cole fans I know, they haven't even woken up yet. They're going to be freaking out here in about an hour. All right, here we go.
3, 2, 1.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton. Bill Bender of the Sporting News will join us in a little over a half an hour. We'll talk about this new college football idea, which is to, we'll have an 80-team league, 8 divisions of 10. 7 of them will be everybody who's in a Power 5 now, or is it Power 4 now? I mean, Power 4, right?
It's Power 4.
Power 4. And that includes, SMU joining the ACC. That includes Notre Dame as an independent. So everybody who's in now is still in. And then amongst the rest, we come up with a 10-team division. And you keep playing your way in and out of that division. It brings relegation to American sports. How could you not like that idea? And quite frankly, how could you not like that idea if you're one of the 60 schools that's currently on the outs? You can play your way in. Is there any way to play your way in now, Mark?
No, but there's apparently a way to buy your way in. Ask SMU.
Exactly. But you can't play your way in.
No, you can buy your way in.
And so now this idea, you can play your way in. And it's just for football. We're not eliminating the conferences in any other sport. And there's a few university presidents who are on the record, on board with this.
Now, the conferences weren't even taking meetings with this group because they're so fearful of the repercussions from ESPN or Fox.
Apparently, they had agreed to take the meetings.
Right.
And then ESPN and Fox said, "What are you doing?" And so that's why they made the deal that they made. The new playoff system, signed the long-term deal with ESPN, 6 more years, getting through what, 2031, I think?
Well, and then the contracts with, the SEC and ESPN run a couple years more than that.
right? But the Big Ten with Fox, CBS, and NBC runs a year or so shorter than that. So, yeah. So this is an idea that's going to get kicked around for a while. And it can't really go into effect, we don't think, until next decade. But they claim they solve all of the issues that currently exist, including paying the players. Will be one entity. They can get a union. They can negotiate with us. We'll divvy up the money. And the rest of college athletics is stay the same. NCAA, got your conferences, you do your thing.
I have so many questions, but my initial question to this is if this happens, well, the conferences then go away.
For football only.
Hear me out. If you're the Big Ten and this were to happen, your Big Ten network's shot for football.
Yeah.
It's shot. And what point is there for USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington to now be in this conference?
Well, the money. But
the money won't be there when this football deal's done. The football money will be there. They will already have that. It will have nothing to do. Do you think the networks are going to pony up the kind of money they're ponying up for a basketball contract?
Well, the number 2 guy in the NFL is apparently the guy helping to put all this together. And he has convinced a few college presidents that, yeah, there'll be more money. Trust me. I know the networks really well. I know how this works. Trust me. There'll be more money.
Once again, not even arguing that point. What's the point of having the Big Ten conference if the football conference doesn't exist? That's what I'm asking.
Well, and obviously Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti aren't going to be in favor of this. The one thing I will say, though, Mark, once again, everybody's really good at saying no to every idea. Make them employees? No. This idea? No. Okay.
I'm not even saying no. I'm actually thinking more positive than that, David. Would regionalization of the other sports come back if this were to happen? What's the point? Exactly.
It should.
Exactly. This actually could bring some
sanity
back to the sport that's not named football. Football goes and plays like the NFL. Great. Basketball, baseball, softball, women's basketball go back to being what they were.
You mean Syracuse, Pitt, and Boston College and go back to the Big East? You mean all those schools could go back to, wait for it, the Pac-12? Huh.
That's when I've read the article twice now. And my big question is what happens to the conferences after this? Because they go away. They're not needed in football. They're not a part of this. It's 7, 10 teams or 8, 10-team divisions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. We divvy up the current group of 70 into 7 10-team divisions, and then the other 60 schools that are playing Division 1A football, 10 of them make it into the big time. And that's the relegation division. That's where you've got to perform to stay, or you could drop down. And obviously dropping down would cost you financially, just like it does in European soccer.
So I'm not poo-pooing this. I am literally thinking this could give conferences their regionalization back at the end of this.
Now, to me, besides the ego, the big thing is, are you sure we can make as much money? Because here's the other thing. Doesn't the conference championship games go away?
Yes.
Those are money grabs in every way, shape, or form. The network's paying for them, total money grab. And at least as far as the SEC and the Big Ten are concerned, Those games are sold out. SEC one certainly is. And the Big Ten one, it's been sold out recently. It helps because Ohio State or Michigan's basically in the game every year. Now,
And if Penn State ever makes it, they'll sell it out too because they'd be
Right.
so excited to get to Indianapolis.
right. They
I
did
do
one
think by
time
the
they
end
were
of the
there.
decade, conference championship games will not be sold out.
I think Atlanta always will be. I mean, the slogan, I believe, they just means more. I believe that. They're a little more nutty than everybody else.
No,
And-
I think they're a lot more nutty than
Yeah.
everyone else.
Yeah, and I mean that in a very affectionate way. So, no, I think Atlanta, as long as that game is played, I think Atlanta will be sold out. I really do. What going to the Rose Bowl meant forever in the Big Ten, all right, that's what going to Atlanta means in the SEC.
I got you. I think the 12-team playoff will diminish that.
Because in theory, you're just playing for seeding.
Yes.
Right.
It won't
then I
mean
get-
nearly as much because you're already both in. And the fan bases are going to have to determine, are we going to do 4 games or are we going to do 3 games?
And so you're saying financially, they may be like, save our money. We need to go on the road in the playoffs. Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Now,
Well,
the first
well-
time that Clemson plays against Oklahoma in the SEC championship, it'll be a big game no matter what.
Hey, did you pay attention to all the legal doings going on between Florida State and the ACC? There were a lot of decisions yesterday, right? I almost booked a lawyer on the show today. I guess the ACC won twice and Florida State won once yesterday. Florida State tried to get the suit in North Carolina dismissed. They lost that. That was considered a big L. Of course, the ACC is trying to get the suit in Florida's court system dismissed, and they're not successful so far. So
2-1, ACC beat Florida State. This is a best of 7, huh?
well, just yesterday, the ACC won. I mean, I think we have to bring a hockey scorecard into this. So far in the fight between Florida State and the ACC, I think the ACC is up 2-1-1.
Okay.
I do. Yesterday, I got to consider a win for the ACC based on what I'm told. So it's not even an overtime loss for the Noles yesterday. Apparently, it was a regulation loss for the Noles. ACC even threw in an empty netter. Apparently 4-2 ACC yesterday is what I'm going with, and 2 points in the standings for the conference.
All right. Good to know.
But plus, it was a road game for Florida State. They were in the North Carolina courts yesterday.
Well, the good news is you can have a quad 1 loss and it won't affect you that much.
Just scheduling the ACC alone helps Florida State. ESPN will still keep them out of the playoff, though. Hello.
David, what's ACC in the net right now?
All I know, Trent, is when they make the tournament, they overachieve as a conference. That's all I know. So it's fun times in college sports right now. Got teams leaving conferences, got teams suing to leave conferences, you got teams buying their way into other conferences. Then you got proposals on the side. Listen, let's just do away with conferences in the football. Let's create a super league. I mean, the number 2 guy in the NFL, Goodell's right-hand guy, is helping put this together. I mean, it's not, this isn't Miller and Moulton, Trent, and a couple of people on the street. You got college presidents who've signed off on this. Goodell's right-hand man.
The search firm that's hired every Big Ten SEC commissioner out there.
Yes, they just handpicked Tony Petitti to run the Big Ten.
Right.
They're behind this. I mean, these are not a bunch of yahoos.
If you think that it's not a big deal, the fact that ESPN and Fox put pressure on their conferences to not meet with this group should tell you that it's a bigger deal than you thought.
So it's not going to happen right away, but we'll talk to Bill Bender about it. in 25 minutes. Nicki Collen will join us in a little more than an hour. We'll talk the women's Final Four. Pat Kirwan to talk all things NFL coming up in about 45 minutes' time. Our poll question of the top 4 quarterbacks, which one's going to be the bust? Vote accordingly.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You guys like Howie Rose?
Yeah, I mean, he's starting to slip a little bit, but yeah. He's had some health issues. I think he's in his late 60s.
Why? Where did
That's what I got here.
Okay, all right. I just didn't know what.
Either way, 73-year-old Bruce Springsteen last night played a 3-hour and 18-minute show in Los Angeles.
I saw a picture. A lady, I just saw it this morning. It was on Twitter, X, whatever. She had a sign, play whatever the blank you want. And Eddie Vedder was at the concert, and we came up and signed her sign and took a picture with her because Eddie Vedder was at the Springsteen show. I don't know if Vedder came up and played a song with him or anything. I have no idea, but
Mark, I went back to the well today with the powdered donuts, but I'm looking at them right now. They're not looking super appetizing. Not calling my name. Haven't opened them yet.
By the way, Mark, I hope you're okay with how I billed the show today. I tried to have a little fun with it. Terrific way to end the week. 3 top-notch guests and 2 mediocre hosts. So last night was the 900th game that Crosby, Malkin, and Letang have played together.
Wow.
That's pretty good. Crosby has over 1,100 points in those 900 games.
Kilo's dad, I think you can wear a hat that supports your team until you die. I will be buried in this hat.
And your Lions jersey, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Bury me in a Lions casket.
Dad had a Lions shirt on yesterday.
He came through for you.
Oh, yeah. And Kilo said that's a Miller and Moulton rule. And I, as I'm getting older, I don't even care. Wear your jersey as much as you damn well please. I don't care. Maybe I'll start wearing them. Who knows? Maybe I'll show up Thursday in a jersey.
You got to get a Wings jersey for the playoff push.
Oh, you got rid of all that Everblade stuff, though, so many years ago. I mean, do you have anything left in the closet?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Bill Bender in a little more than 15 minutes time. Pat Kirwan, Nicki, Collen next hour. Trent Bally and the play of the day coming up in a matter of minutes. He's fired up today. He's got his Lions hat on. Have you had your Red Bull yet?
We're in the process. I'll
Yes,
tell you, it's Tigers opening day, and I wanted to wear my Tigers fitted hat, but it has shrunk so much over the years because of, you sweat and it shrinks. I got to get a new Tigers hat.
Oh, I just thought you stopped doing steroids.
I was going to say, your head grew, Barry. I mean, Trent.
I mean, those competitive swimming days are done. And so, now you're back to your normal build. By the way, I found somebody yesterday who's competing professionally who weighs less than Trent. I didn't think that was possible. But the Badia guy, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing his name. Akshay Badia, Bhatia, the guy who's leading the Valero,
Yes.
Texas Open, is listed at 6'1", 130. 6'1", 130.
Do you think your right leg weighs more than that?
My right thigh weighs more than that. I'm going to eat how much he weighs at a Marlins baseball game one night. 130.
Just don't forget your vuvuzela when you go.
I'm not kidding. Because I'm old, I was in junior high and I was $130. That's what led me to run cross country. I stepped on the scale one day in 8th grade. I was 126 pounds. I'm like, man, you're fat. So I started running for a few years. I know. It's borderline athletic. It's I can't believe that. It must be a different person in a different life. But finally, Mark, I saw a professional athlete who actually is skinnier and weighs less than Trent. I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah, big walk for Miller and Moulton these days is to the fridge.
No doubt.
The only way we get cardio in is being nervous in a basketball game late. We make several trips to the refrigerator. I don't even have to eat every time. I get so nervous during a game. Sometimes I just go open it and look inside and go, I don't really want anything.
I mean, to get some exercise, I live on a 3rd floor condo. I go down the 1st floor to get the mail. I mean, that's, of course, I use an elevator to go up and down. I mean, but that's, it's like 6 steps to the elevator. 4 steps to the mailbox, I mean, all in all, it's probably about 20 steps there.
Do you ever take the stairs up?
Hmm?
Do you ever take the stairs up?
Why would you do that when there's an elevator right there? I mean,
Sometimes.
What kind of a question is that?
What floor are you on?
3rd floor.
Okay, so that's if you're on the 2nd, that's where it's kind of, I mean,
no. Trust me, at 3rd floor, I should be able to take the stairs down. Now, I will say, though, the stairs are at the end, and the elevator's in the middle.
Oh, well.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like 30, 40 steps to the end. But then I got to go down the, and it's 4 flights of stairs. It's like 8, 8, 8, and 8. So,
Have
what's
either
that?
of you ever had like a Fitbit where you track your
No.
steps?
Oh,
Yes.
it's just, oh,
You
my
have?
goodness.
I had, it's in my house somewhere.
I had one for a couple years in college, and I loved it, but I just stopped. I got out of the habit.
Really?
David says no way.
137 pounds. You were counting steps? Seriously? If that was true and I had known you then, I would have punched you.
I had it
honestly.
for a different. I mean, it had other features. You could check your
Skinny
heart rate.
people counting their steps deserve to be punched. And I'm not saying in the face, but at least a Charlie horse or something in the side
One
of your
good butt
arm.
punch.
Boom! In your arm where you go, ow. It's like, stop counting your steps. Honks the rest of us off. Did you ever consider taking the stairs? Unbelievable. Yes, I'm going to count my steps. I'm going to say them out loud too. 1, 2, get my exercise in, guys. I don't know. So anyway, the guy who's leading the Valero Texas Open, I hope he wins, goes right to the Masters. He's 130 pounds. Apparently, John Rahm's Champions Dinner is more than this guy weighs.
That's a hell of a dinner, by the way.
It does look pretty.
That's impressive.
DJ going, I don't know anything that's on it, but it looks fabulous.
Well, I mean, that's kind of sums up DJ in a nutshell, doesn't it?
Here we go. Here we go, Trent. It's the very first impression, because I'm foolish enough to think that I'm funny. So I would do impressions on the show, and Mark would just put his head down and shake his head. Like, well, his name's on half the show. I got to put up with this crap. Okay. But then Mark, out of nowhere, we're doing the show like 3-4 years. And all of a sudden, Mark breaks into a Dustin Johnson impression. Well, first off, I literally fell off the chair. It was Mark doing an impression. And then it was funny. Because he just made fun of how stupid DJ sounds.
Were we playing this week? Man, this VIL tour.
VIL tour. Oh boy.
Do you guys like DJ?
No.
You objectively don't even
No.
like David?
I think a bar of soap is a more intelligent being than DJ.
Okay. David, thoughts?
I actually liked him. Okay. I mean, wasn't a huge fan because it's right. He doesn't show a lot of personality, and I'm into people who show personality.
He doesn't have a personality to show.
He obviously has a personality, for goodness sakes. Okay. He's a longtime boyfriend and now husband of Paulina Gretzky, and she's a party animal. So obviously he's got a personality. He just doesn't show it on the golf course. I mean, he's got game. We just don't see any of it.
He's got something. There's no doubt.
I'll just leave that there.
Exactly.
Right.
He wasn't a first-round bust, that's for sure.
No, he wasn't. In fact, no. In fact, won a tour event, 10, 11, 12 consecutive years? It's like top 3 all time in terms of a win every year for the longest period of time. He should have more majors, though. He's probably not going to win another major, which means he'll retire with 2. I mean, Norman, DJ, I mean, you look at their games and you go, they should have won more majors.
Well, DJ had trouble rolling the ball.
Yep.
All the talent in the world from tee to green and couldn't make putts.
And it's ironic that he wins the U.S. Open at Oakmont and wins at Augusta for a guy who wasn't a great putter.
Exactly. That's how good of a ball striker he is. Time now for our play of the day, brought to you by Molly Maid. Clean up this segment, Trent.
Anytime you get Miller and Moulton's teams going at it, you hope it's play of the day worthy. And the second Tigers-Mets game in the doubleheader yesterday certainly was. Tigers have a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the 9th. They haven't allowed a Mets run all series. But then Pete Alonso goes yard to tie it up, and the rally continues with Tyrone Taylor.
Here's the payoff pitch. Breaking ball line towards third. Over the glove of the third baseman McKinstry. Down the left field line. Around third, digging for the plate is Beatty. He will score without a throw. Put it in the books. Carlos Mendoza has his first win as a major league manager, and the Mets are out at second base mobbing Tyrone Taylor, who drives home Brett Beatty with a winning run. The Mets scored twice here in the bottom of the ninth inning for their first win of the year.
Take a breath, Howie Rose. He kept going, too. I had to find a good place to clean it up. But Mets win their first game of the season, Tigers' first loss, and our college basketball betting system worked out pretty well. And I think even though doubleheaders are pretty sparse, David, we kind of have our MLB betting system 1-0 on the early season.
So we're going to wait to see until the first game ends, and whoever wins it, we bet on the other team to win the second game because we're always betting on a split.
Yeah.
And we'll get a handful of doubleheaders, especially with all this weather we're having in the early season.
That is your Molly Maid play of the day. Call them today, 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839. If you're looking for a quality company to start cleaning your home, call Molly Maid today. Make sure you tell them Miller and Moulton sent you.
Miller and Moulton. Bill Bender of the Sporting News is next. Pat Kirwan at the top of the hour. Where else but Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David, what are you eating?
Ham and cheese.
What kind of cheese?
American. I'm not a fancy cheese guy. American or cheddar. I'm not even crazy about Swiss and provolone. I'll eat it, but not crazy about it. Danielson reminded me there are certain college press boxes where I take the stairs to go to and from the food. And I texted him back only because I'm forced to.
Not to me, Sonny.
You playing 4 favorites this weekend? The women and men, you're going to play the favorites?
I would.
What's the most likely upset?
UConn.
UConn.
On the women's side, that is. Because Lord knows, the UConn men haven't.
I think
South
think
Carolina, or not South Carolina. What are you gonna say about Iowa? Is that what you were gonna say?
no. I think that UConn's the best upset pick, but on the men's side, I think Alabama's the best men's pick. I don't think
I'd
NC
agree
State's
with
got.
that.
I don't think NC State's got anything for.
No, I think
Purdue.
Purdue's gonna roll.
And I think UConn's going to win and roll too, but I just because of their style and the fact that they can score. If you were to pick one on the men, David, would you pick NC State or Bama?
Bama. I think it's a bad matchup for NC State. They got to get Edie off the floor. Nobody has gotten Edie off the floor. Franco's still getting paid by the Rays, for the gentleman that asked in our chat room. Now, if he ends up, going to jail and what have you, Major League Baseball has to suspend him. That's when teams stop paying. He's on a list where he doesn't count against their 40-man roster right now, but he's getting paid.
Bill is on the line. Hold the line.
Careful.
Chew. Take it easy there, big fella.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Thanks for waking up with us, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kirwan to talk all things NFL. Coming up at the top of the hour, Nicki Collen to break down the women's Final Four, the Baylor women's coach. She will join us 1 hour from now. And speaking of the women's Final Four, that's where Bill Bender is. He normally covers college football predominantly for the Sporting News, but what was it, about a 2-3 hour drive, Bill?
Yeah, I'm up in Cleveland, a little over 2 hours from where I live to Cleveland, and we'll be up there tonight for to be the most anticipated women's Final Four that I can remember.
Oh, there's no doubt. We've talked, Bill. We think that tonight may do a better TV number than tomorrow night. That we think it's possible that Caitlin Clark will outdraw the men on Saturday night.
That's a good question, especially with this UConn game. Now, it is Friday night at 9 o'clock, which we'll see. But, I mean, in terms of if you were picking one game to watch this weekend, I think a lot of people would pick UConn and Iowa tonight. And you saw that yesterday with Caitlin Clark in the media availability. She did a 45-minute breakout session. She got the superstar media treatment, and I mean, I haven't seen that out of NFL players. I imagine that is what it was like for, the starting quarterback in the Super Bowl is how she was treated yesterday. And I'm not exaggerating that.
Well, you've been at many big events, okay? The buzz in Cleveland, does it feel like, when you're used to covering the college football national championship game, Big Ten title games, what have you, does it have that feel?
Kind of. And in terms of the women's Final Four, I covered it in 2018, a year when I had 2 buzzer beaters. Rike Ogunbowale hit 2 for Notre Dame. It was incredible. Yeah, I mean, I've been to national championship games where there was more and less media. I mean, last year there was a lot because it was Michigan, but it's pretty. This is the most I've seen at the women's game, and it's not just Caitlin Clark. I mean, UConn's there. You have an undefeated South Carolina team. You have a Cinderella NC State, just like the men, and it's going to lead to some high drama tonight.
7 and 9 is when the games are scheduled on ESPN. Difficult to imagine the 9 o'clock start isn't earlier than 9:30 or 9:45, though, since there's a half hour in between games and what have you. So for those that planning to watch, be prepared for a late tip. Bill Bender of the Sporting News. You can follow him on X, Bill Bender 92, Bill Bender 92.
Bill, the reason we did bring you on, however, is not talk women's Final Four, although we love talking that with you. We want to talk about this new College Sports Tomorrow proposal that has surfaced of trying to change the landscape of college football completely. And there are some heavy hitters that started this. What type of legs do you think this proposal has?
I mean, if Stuart and Andrew are reporting it for the Athletics, then yeah, I mean, it's not just a conversation. It's something that's been talked about. It's something that if once you it starts with the assessment of college football's changed a lot. It's changed. It's getting harder for some schools to compete. It's coming down to a lot of people. I get the question, do you think the SEC and the Big Ten would break off and do their own thing? And I think this is one way in which that would probably maybe happen.
Bill, do you think that this has legs? There are legitimate people behind it. I know initially there's going to be resistance, obviously. Sankey and Petiti aren't going to want to give up control and power and what have you. But, Bill, they're trying to answer as many questions and concerns as possible, when right now it seems as if they're having trouble answering even one.
Right. And that's, I think we're a long way off. I mean, I don't know what a long way is, but I don't think this is going to happen overnight. I think they're going to try the 12-team playoff format, see if that works and see if, how that goes. I caution that. And then obviously we're going to 14 without even looking to 12, which I don't understand. I don't understand that at all. But, the future of the sport, the money, the NIL, I look at college football and I see kind of within that 130 plus schools, I see 3 divisions. I see, the haves and that middle class of programs that probably can't compete for a national championship. And then, schools like, I went to a MAC school, and it doesn't mean the MAC's not fun, but I think it could be more fun if you were competing for a national championship of some sort.
Have you seen a model out there that you support for how to pay the athletes? Because it certainly seems that right now NIL is basically being funded by boosters and fans, and that's not a sustainable model for us. Do you see something out there that is?
They're going to have that uncomfortable conversation about revenue sharing and whether they can make them employees of the university. If you made the football almost separate from the university, you could do it that way. And again, that would come with having a realization and an honest assessment of what this really is. I'm with you on NIL. I think with the collectives and when you're asking fans and there's alumni and donors are always going to do this, but when you're asking fans who are already paying, the ticket prices, the memorabilia, can't even afford to go to a game, to pay for the roster. Some people are, I mean, this is college football. It's an emotional sport. People will do it. But like you said, I don't see that as sustainable at all.
Well, also, Bill, don't you think, I mean, amongst the many concerns, if you're running a business, you want as much cost certainty as possible. And when the price tag is just going to keep going up every year. I mean, if this star corner, you were paying him X this year, well, he's going to turn to you and say, I'm pretty good, made all conference. I want to raise. I mean, isn't that a reason enough that the current model is not going to work? Because these guys got to rein in the costs.
Yeah, it's a really good reason. And, when you're hearing stories, I remember that Mike Loxley story from this offseason where he said a third string running back came in demanding X amount of money. And, these coaches aren't general managers. That's, you know what I mean? I think I talked to a Division III coach recently, and he was telling me not spending nearly as much time coaching. And that's another part of this conversation where, when some of these coaches go to the NFL, now there are always going to be one to coach college football for that salary, no question. But the way and the nature of the job has changed because of things like that.
Are you still getting the vibe that the coaches, I mean, you mentioned that coaches aren't GMs. How much are the coaches having difficulty with what's going on right now, and how many of them are trying to look at other options?
I mean, I don't know how many. It's definitely, you'll see more each season. I mean, you'll see more cases like Jeff Hafley and Chip Kelly, but even though Chip Kelly took an offensive coordinator job, that's my point about that middle class of program. For Boston College, it's becoming increasingly hard to compete for a national championship. If you're UCLA, you're going to the Big Ten, an 18-team conference. How many schools truly can compete and pay and have the resources to do all these things you guys are talking about? I think that list would probably be about 40 teams. And in turn, if we were doing that and making a Super League of 40 teams, I mean, at least 75% would come out of the SEC and Big Ten anyway.
Bill, when you look at the top of the Big Ten this coming football season, this is about as top heavy as this league's been. I mean, Penn State's loaded, Ohio State's loaded, Oregon's loaded, USC's, if they're not loaded, they're close. I mean, it seems to me, even Nebraska thinks they're going to be, very improved. Iowa thinks they're going to be really good with a favorable schedule. I mean, Bill, the Big Ten seems as good at the top as it's been maybe this century.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just Ohio State and Michigan. I think you got to throw Michigan in there despite their tough schedule. They've got a lot of talent coming back and a little bit of a honeymoon as a program with winning a national title. But, yeah, Ohio State and Oregon, top 5 teams, top 5 rosters. Penn State still has to answer the big game question, but very good team. And their depth in the middle with Washington, an improved Nebraska team, really interested to see what they do. It's going to be fun this year. Now, I do think there's some separation with Ohio State and Oregon. They play each other in the regular season. They may have to play each other in a Big Ten championship game. And then what if they get in the same side of the playoff bracket? I think all of those things are worth watching.
You made a comment earlier in our final question. Your thoughts about the expansion of the playoff to 12, and as you mentioned, they're going to go to 14 without even seeing how 12 works. Do you think 12, the fan will like it better, same, or worse than what they like now?
It's going to be an experiment of sorts. I think in general, we like more football. I had reservations about the NFL playoffs going to 14, and I love Wild Card Weekend more than ever now. So I think a couple years will be clutch. Like I said, going to 14, I've never heard of doing one thing and then just immediately expanding. And as I think I've told you guys, there's never been a playoff contract. So we're going to be at 12 and 14 or more forever. I don't see it going back to 8 or 6 anytime soon. So I'm excited to see it. I do think on any given year, I still feel like 5 or 6 teams are capable of actually winning the thing. But I guess you could make that same argument about the NFL.
It will be interesting to see whether or not we can get first round upsets in college football the way we get first round upsets in the other sports, because there's usually a big difference between the top 5 and 6 and the rest. Bill, thanks for making time for us. Enjoy the Final Four in Cleveland. Safe travels, and hopefully we can talk again.
Hey, that was fun. Thanks so much for having me on. Take care.
Bill Bender of the Sporting News. Follow him on X at BillBender92. Bill Bender 92. Nicki Collen will join us in less than an hour talking about what Bill is covering in Cleveland, as she will preview the women's Final Four for us.
Have to find out from her if any of her point guards have come to her and say, I need more money.
Well, I can tell you right now how I'm going to start the interview with Nicki. We were going back and forth for a few days to schedule texting, and over 24 hours went by and she didn't get back to me. And she said, hey, sorry, I've been portaling. Now, I didn't respond to it because I immediately thought we're going to discuss that on the show. Portaling, is that like rock climbing? Is that like whitewater rafting?
Yes, as a matter of fact, you're now getting to the right events.
Right.
That, you know, portaling is not going to play 18 holes, David. It is definitely whitewater rafting. It's rappelling down a mountainside.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. That's what I want to ask her. I go, jumping out of an airplane or portaling, what is more dangerous? You know, that. So that's where we're going to start with Nicki. We'll eventually get to UConn and Iowa. She has a sense of humor. I think she'll be fine with it. Besides, I'm quoting her. Her words. Quoting her. Portaling. It sounded like rocket, it sounded like climbing a mountain to me. What were you doing yesterday? I was portaling. Oh, you were mountain climbing. Rock climbing. Got it.
Portaling can be more dangerous.
Certainly more time consuming. I'll tell you that. You can play a round of golf in less time than you can if you're portaling.
Well, and portaling can be expensive. That's the other thing.
Not for you. No, not for her. It's just for people like us, fans. It's expensive for us.
Well, that's true. She's spending our money portaling.
Right.
That is shopping with someone else's credit card. I will say it's dangerous, but the rewards can be plentiful.
Right, because you think your credit limit is a certain amount. And sometimes you find out you actually had more to spend, but oftentimes, as we often do, I've reached my credit limit? Oh, snap. I still need a wing.
Gonna have to hit the boosters up, get that credit limit raised.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean there's no more money? I got 2 more scholarships to fill. I saw this really nice point guard in Montana. It's kind of like a red automobile. Oh, I saw this really nice point guard in Montana. I want to go shopping for it.
And much like NFL free agency, it's just a lot of 1-year deals now for these kids.
You guys see Haley Van Lith is in the transfer portal?
Yeah. Well,
1 year at LSU. Now she's going to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's see who she can't guard next year. Hello. Too soon? No.
She's only 5'7". Give her a break.
Why did they put her on Caitlin Clark?
No one's going to stop her anyways.
Pat Kirwan to talk the NFL. He is next. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You're listening to Miller on the Florida Sports Network.
Mongo, when I said wing, I meant a player on a basketball court, not a chicken wing. A wing, a small forward.
Hello, man.
Morning.
Morning, Pat.
I always get nervous when I see Mark looking like something seriously is.
Well, no, there's
mechanically
something
wrong.
playing on a. There was something playing. I thought it was. Was that you?
No.
Huh.
We're in. Whatever. I don't know. It's gone
It's
now.
gone now.
Come on, Trent, take the blame. You know it was you.
No,
that was
pretty
the
sure it was me.
fastest no I've ever heard. That's called a defensive no, and Mark knows it.
I'm skating on thin ice every day, Pat.
Well, he just got thinner. He just went to a fishing hole they didn't mark. You guys up north know what that means, ice fishermen that you are.
Ice fisherman.
Have
you been out at all, Pat?
Golfing?
Fishing.
I have not gone once. Now, I am staying down here till like May 20th. And when I get done with the draft, it's really and I like fishing in May personally.
Oh, I like fishing. I like fishing anytime. In the May, you get a little better weather. You shouldn't get as many waves out there.
No, and
lay down a little bit.
More fish are in when it gets a little warmer. That's when I can go a lot, and then I come back in June for a week with one of my grandsons. So I'll get some fishing in then too. Just getting ready for the draft and stuff. That's too much to do every day.
Yeah, I hear you.
I was supposed to be in Boston today, but which would have been fine. I would have been able to do the show, but that's what happens when you're in overlapping tournaments. Brady's still in Detroit in the national championship thing. They keep winning, so they had to cancel going to Boston. We'll see. They beat, you don't know those things. They beat Chicago Reapers 4-0, and then they beat Little Caesars yesterday. So they're moving. They're in the final 8, so they're doing good. It's fucking unbelievable. It never ends. Now tournaments overlap.
Anything to get your money.
Yeah. But, I appreciate what they're doing with these kids. Almost every team that's left is being coached by an NHL player. These guys, it's their transition. They go into this stuff, and they like it, and they make money.
Well, the thing I like about hockey is they're still telling kids to play more than hockey. They want kids to have an off season, go play lacrosse, go play, don't burn yourself out 12 months a year doing hockey.
No, and it's interesting. All of my guys that play hockey, every one of them plays lacrosse, and they just find lacrosse fun. And it's not the same structure when it comes to practice. It's after school. It's
not
for an hour.
but it's not the same structure from your muscles too. You're working your legs differently.
Absolutely.
And I'm
There's
convinced
no
that's
gliding.
what saves you
I
from
can tell you
injury. Right.
Nope, it's fun. And so much of it applies. To me, the hockey kids have such an advantage in lacrosse.
Mm-hmm.
They totally understand spatial awareness. It really becomes the same game. You have to learn to play offense and defense. It's really good.
Well, a lot of the coordination goes hand in hand too.
Yes.
Like all my friends growing up that played hockey also played lacrosse. It was almost a prerequisite.
Yeah. I was interviewing Peyton Wilson, the linebacker from NC State. He said,
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton, at least along the network, as we wrap up the week. The Diamond District bonus hour for our loyal 239 audience is an hour from now. Pat Kirwan joining us once again on a Friday at this time, courtesy of NFL Radio. Moving the Chains is his show 3 to 7 weekdays during the season. He'll throw in a Saturday show, and he'll also then work Sundays as part of CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. How are you?
I'm doing great. Speaking of Pinchers, I was there last night with a number of my grandchildren. That's their favorite thing to do, go to Pinchers. So, up north, they don't get grouper, and down here they do, and that's what they all eat when they're there. So and as the little one said, are we going to the grouper place? Yes, we're going to Pinchers. So having fun with that. Love going there with the kids.
All right, Pat, we have I'm going to start you with our poll question today. And all we did was ask of the top 4 quarterbacks, Williams, May, Daniels, and now McCarthy, who's most likely to be a bust?
Well, this place they're going to has to be part of that answer.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I say that, I would put Chicago and Caleb, and he's got the most pressure. He's going to the place that has the biggest graveyard of quarterbacks and a fan base / media that is not going to be kind to him if he doesn't come out of the blocks looking like CJ Stroud. That's the one I think has a problem. Now, you could look at their defense and say supporting cast on the defensive side is pretty good. It's just the pressure of the moment. I would be thinking that might be the hardest one. And it's debatable. I don't know how your poll is going, but I'm not a big McCarthy fan. I think he's kind of a system dude. And when it comes time to be dynamic and be the leader and do things that Mahomes does, I don't think he has that in his resume. But I think Caleb's got a rough go of it in Chicago.
And for the record, I voted Drake May because I think he's going to end up in New England. And I think that's the worst situation of the 4. I'm with you, Pat. I mean, Caleb Williams a year from now could have a new coaching staff and, he going down the same path that many other quarterbacks go down when you get drafted by a bad team. I made the case earlier in the week, Pat. If you're the Bears at 9, do you go Brock Bowers? Do you say, listen, we're all in on the quarterback. Let's put as much talent around him as possible. I could draft the best or second best offensive tackle. I could get an edge rusher. I get it. But if we're all in on Caleb Williams, shouldn't we be all in around Caleb Williams?
Well, we say it on this show 100 times. A quarterback's best friend, a young quarterback's best friend is his tight end. And so if you absolutely at least commit something to the running game, then the tight end right inside, which is an easy throw, should be your favorite target. Go back to Mike Vick. Remember Crumpler?
Mm-hmm.
He played pitch and catch with Algie Crumpler, when he didn't know what else to do. And they just ran that Y option for him, and it gave him a legitimate passing attack to a big tight end. Look at Lamar with the tight ends that he's had in Baltimore. That's his whole passing game. Now he's starting to try to grow it out to the wideouts, but young quarterback, tight end, yeah. And the tight end position is shallow. After Brock Bowers, things get a little shaky.
What do you make? What do you make of the Diggs trade? I mean, that was just get him out of here, right? I mean, we can't see this guy anymore. I can't have him in the building anymore, and we're going to send him to Houston. But the wide receiver room in Buffalo is pretty thin now.
It is pretty thin. I think they have two options, and I think they'll use both of them. I think they will sign a veteran, and they will draft a receiver. And they, we had a little mock draft yesterday, and you can move up if you want to and jump on a guy. So I think they can do that, and I don't think it's a hard thing to do. When I had him yesterday, I moved it up to the Minnesota spot, and they took Brian Thomas, which I think is realistic. Brian Thomas won't fall to them, but with a jump up and give away a pick for next year, I think and respond to Brandon Beane. He said, we'll do anything and everything to make this right. He's already said we're not as good today as we were yesterday. So take one there and then sign one of the veterans. And the three of us have talked about the list of veterans. Heck, if you fail in the receiver in the draft, go sign two veterans. Take Boyd and Odell. Do you think those guys wouldn't want to play with Josh Allen? You could get them on one-year deals, and you could fortify the room pretty quickly. But what I find interesting, and Jim and I would almost call it an argument yesterday. He thought that and I don't know how he felt this way. I don't want to speak for him, but that Houston actually gained control of the guy by doing this one-year deal, knocking 3 years off the contract. What are you talking about? First off, that was only done because the player accepted it, and he accepted it because he wants to be able to get out of there. To me, it didn't do anything to control the player, like he'll be on his best behavior. This is a guy who's never been on his best behavior. And when he gets there and finds out, hey, man, I'm not really a true one anymore. I'm not getting 150 targets in this offense. He's going to want to leave. That's why he agreed to the one-year deal. So they gave him a couple extra bucks to take it down to one. So I don't know. I'll ask you guys. No, I'll start with you, Mark. Would you like Diggs in your locker room with that young quarterback and those young receivers?
Scares the hell out of me.
Me too. David?
Well, you're asking the wrong guy. Me and my diva wide receivers. I actually think that Diggs has to behave. Okay. And he's not going to be that he has to behave because he's only got one more shot at a contract. And for those that missed it yesterday, the Texans took the voidable years out of Diggs' contract. They gave him a $3 million raise, and he's a free agent after 2024. So they've rented Diggs for a year. And I think, Pat, he has to accept if he's only going to have 80 catches. First off, he should still have 1,000 yards because I think they throw the ball downfield more than he was getting it with Josh and the Bills. But I think Diggs now has to behave because he's going to be a 31-year-old wide receiver on the market next year.
Well, there's a history of guys, and I'll start with T.O. They never behaved. Randy Moss didn't behave.
Well, that's not true. That's not true. T.O. first year in Philly, he behaved. T.O. first year in Dallas, he behaves. The guys like this, you can get to behave for a year, year and a half, 2 years.
Stop right there then. That's going to back up on you because when he's free next year, the next team's going to say he'll behave for us.
But what I'm saying is if I'm Houston, I don't think he's going to be a problem in 2024. After 2024 is a different story.
Yeah, but they don't control him anymore. When you're an egomaniac who does things your way, he forced his way out of Minnesota. He forced his way out of Buffalo. And now he doesn't have to force his way out. He can walk away. It's like, I would have never given him that. I would have said to him, you behave, or guess what we're going to do? We're going to cut you in July after free agency. I like having a leash on these guys.
I understand. I actually think they've shortened the leash. Granted, they don't have control of him, but I actually think in a way he's also on a leash this year. But they don't have control of him. The bad news can be, I think he's going to have a good year. I think he's going to be on his best behavior. They're going to win. He's going to catch passes, score touchdowns. He's going to be happier than he was in Buffalo. And then Houston's going to be like, oh, blank. Are we going to have to offer him a Mike Evans deal, 2 years, $46 million just to keep him?
Well, we are going to differ on this. I know that guy. Leopards don't change their spots. He won't wait the whole year when he's not catching. Do you ever study that offense? It's a distribution offense. They don't feature anybody. Go look at how the 49ers throw the ball. It's all over the place. Ayuk, Debo, the running back. He's not going to get what he got in the last two places he was. And he wasn't happy in those places with 150 targets. Okay, next subject.
It will be fascinating because they've got 3 receivers, they've got a running back, they got a tight end. But on Buffalo's side, how much pressure does this put on their young tight end? Because I know you said they're going to sign the veteran wide receivers, but you've talked about it before, the tight end being the quarterback's best friend. He's going to have to perform.
He has to perform. They put a lot of pressure on themselves to come up with a way to produce the amount of plays and points they need. As my answer is, take one in the draft, take one in free agency, or take 2 in free agency. And, I like doing mock drafts because yesterday we did 2 rounds. And you start asking yourself, how deep will the receiver group run where you can get a guy with someone as talented as Josh Allen that he can get to play? Now, they could land up in the second round getting Pearsall as well as someone like Brian if they want to really go into this. If I was asked the question, could they get 2 in the draft that could play next year? My answer is yes. But you're going to diminish some of the other things you're doing. And I also say it's hard, and I know I've done it, and sometimes it's the right thing to do. As Ron Wolf once said, sometimes I go down to the locker room and I never want to see the guy's face again. And that question I asked him was, well, why would you trade that guy? Because I walked in the locker room and I looked at his face and said, I never want to see that guy here again. And I think there was some emotion in this decision.
I'm curious how deep into the second round of your guys' mock draft yesterday, wide receiver Keon Coleman, Florida State, Ladd McConkey, Georgia. Curious how far they fell in your mock draft.
Yeah, Ladd came out pretty quickly. He came out at pick 34, second one in the round, second pick in the round. Then it fell down a little ways. I thought Adonai Mitchell, he came out at 45. I thought that what's his name would have come out earlier, Keon Coleman. So there's 3 right away that I like. Then at the bottom of the round, here comes Roman Wilson. He came out at the bottom of the second round. So there's 4 right off the top that any of those guys with Josh Allen throwing to him will function well, be a 45 catch guy. I do not worry about fortifying the receiver room in Buffalo. And I don't think Brandon does either.
Do you still consider Buffalo the favorite in that division, Pat? We got about 30 seconds.
Yes, I do. Josh Allen is a dimensional player that no other team has a guy that can take the game, put it on his shoulders, and legitimately win the game. Now, how long can he do it? 2-3 more years this way, but he can do it. Yes, I do think they're the favorites. The guys down in South Florida, the quarterback's going to have to cross the line of scrimmage once in a while for a first down. He doesn't like doing it.
He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekdays 3 to 7, and joins us once again courtesy of Pinchers, which is where he and his family had dinner last night. Pinchers with over a dozen locations between Tampa and Key West. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. We'll look ahead to the draft, which is less than 3 weeks away, and talk more NFL with Pat Kirwan on the other side here on Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David, you don't do the golf anymore with your buddy?
No, when Fox, because of the pandemic, Fox had to sell off the golf. So the last time I did golf was 5 years ago. I can do the Masters.
I was going to ask you that.
But and I did the Masters when Sergio won 7 years ago. But Pat, I got to be honest, I got a check that was so small that I thought it was my expenses. and a week went by, and I sent an email out that said, hey, just wondering, when I'm going to get paid. And they're like, what are you talking about? You got paid. And I've been asked every year by CBS to work the .com, because that's where I worked. And I told them I would only work with Vern in the booth. I said, I'll come back for Vern, but I'm not coming. And they, offered me double the money and I said, yeah, that's still insulting. I cannot tell you how little money it was to work 14-hour days for, 6 days.
No, and it sounds like they have guys that will do it. So
and they said, listen, this is truly as high as I can go. And, because I'm friends with a couple people, and so they were nicer to me than they would have been to a normal person who was sending those emails. But they literally said, I got 100 people who will do what you do.
You should have told them Mark wanted to do it. Mark loves golf.
Trust me, there isn't much I wouldn't do. I'm ready to work in the cart barn at West Bay unless things turn around, Pat.
Mark would not have worked for this.
Mark, isn't this radio station you're on starting to do well? Aren't you guys growing a little bit here?
Yes and no. But the show is, our wallets are not. So, we'll see. Something has to happen.
Damn it.
Yep.
Is that guy still own the company?
Yep.
Is he retiring?
Don't know. He's kind of retired now for his little attention and effort he's putting into this. We own the show, though. Okay, we own the show. He doesn't own us.
Well, then, where can you take the show? That's right. How about back to ESPN?
No, they won't pay us.
Well, one of the guys that I did a couple of spots with those guys. I don't know. I can't remember the names of the guys who had the show after you. One of them came up to me at the Super Bowl, and he was with some agents, and he left, whatever his name was.
Yeah, that's probably Pete Shepard.
Yeah, I didn't recognize him right away because look, when you don't go to the studio,
Right.
and we weren't doing Zoom, and as soon as he started talking, I recognized the voice, but he left there for something else. He was very excited, and two of the investors were with him. He was introducing me to those guys, but I was wondering what was going on with ESPN Radio.
Yeah, he left for an online thing, the Tony Bruno network, I think it is, and I have no idea if it's even
Real?
still operational.
Oh, it's still operational. He's on right now.
Gotcha.
He does it on Twitter, on X, so I see that he comes on every morning at 7.
Well, what's that avenue like? Just putting something out on your own.
See, Pat, I think the problem for us is we're in our 50s. And we can't, I don't believe at this stage of our lives, roll the dice that, it's all about, we're not in our 30s where we could, let's see if this
I
works.
make decisions based on my age as well, believe me. And I wish I was in my 50s, but I make those decisions based on the reality of,
right.
I get offered stuff all the time, but I have no desire to get in a startup in my age group.
Right.
Pat, this show needs to be sold.
That's all. We need someone
that's it. We need someone who can sell the show. If we did, this show would do gangbusters.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour, our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. Nicki Collen's going to join us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. We'll preview the women's Final Four, and we'll also ask her about portaling. She told me she's been portaling this week, and we figured that's got to be more dangerous than rocket climbing, mountain climbing. Sorry. So, we'll ask her.
I heard that conversation. When I heard you talk about portaling, I, of course, being a Catholic, said, I wonder if I have to go to confession for that.
Right.
What is that?
Right. And I think Nicki's Catholic too. I know she's very much into her faith. So, that's another thing. We can ask her, hey, here you've been portaling. Is that something you need to have a conversation with your pastor about?
That's the first thing I thought of when I heard you discussing it. And Mark, he knew what it was, which was really impressive. And I know that he would have told me if I had to go to confession because we go to the same church. So,
there you go. There you go. I'll see you again on Sunday.
Father
Saturday.
of Philadelphia Eagles when he comes over in his golf cart with his Philadelphia Eagles stuff all over it.
Pat, I'm telling you, the year that they won the Super Bowl, he mentioned the NFC Championship 5 times during the Mass. It's one of the 4 in the homily alone, opened with it and got 4 in the homily. It's one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
Well, he how small the world is. I was a college coach. He was a high school football coach in Philadelphia before he was a priest. And I recruited a couple of his players, and they played for me at Hofstra. And whenever I see him, he just wants to talk about those guys. And so I called them and said, tell me about Father Philadelphia. Oh, my God, was he rough on us. So his sermons are, he saw Jesus, but back then he did not.
All depends if you have a quarterback, Pat. It all depends if you have a quarterback. Seriously, with Diggs getting traded, doesn't that now generate the Justin Jefferson conversation? He is yet to sign the extension. And he said, I'm not going to sign an extension until I see what we're doing at quarterback. He's a free agent right now after this season.
No,
and he's wanting $30 million a year. If you're the Vikings, what are you doing here with Jefferson?
Well, he's not free after this year. We have 2 franchise tags to go. And money wins out every time. And those franchise tags next year, and by my projections, are going to be about 23, 24 million. And the next one will be, call it 30 million. So you can have him for 50 million if you want to keep him. So he knows that. I hope it doesn't come to that. You'll think I'm crazy. This is right up David's alley, though. So we're getting ready to do this mock draft. I'm thinking, wait a second, Arizona at 4. Everyone trying to get you spot. How about this? How about Arizona stays there and takes J.J. McCarthy and trades Kyler to the Vikings?
Okay, but if you're the Vikings with that contract, would you really trade for Kyler Murray?
I don't like Kyler Murray, but
I don't
after
like
the
the
Diggs thing, I you know what though? First off, he's under contract for 5 more years. If you look at the 4 years before the parachute, you actually have the guy for $35 million a year on average. Now, in the world we're in, General Manager David Moulton will tell us 35 per for 4 years. David, tell me, is that a good deal or a bad deal?
It's a very good deal. Going forward, it's a very good deal.
So if you want to get rid of a guy right now, they're not going to do it. But I looked at it going, now the problem, they have 17 million in cap space, so they couldn't hit the first year. This year's at 37. But you can restructure the deal. You can put with 5 years left, you can put a signing bonus off that paragraph 5 and get that cap number down. And I wonder if you were the general manager, would be this the opportunity to move away from Kyler Murray? And would Minnesota be interested in him for names like Justin Jefferson's peace of mind?
Murray doesn't seem like this current Vikings coach's quarterback.
He is not.
No, I mean, in fact, I really think he desperately wanted to keep Kirk Cousins. I don't think he's very happy with his general manager right now because Cousins was running his offense and running it very well. But, Arizona's interesting. Is 11-23 enough if you're Arizona to trade out of 4? Because they don't have a second-round pick and they don't have a third-round pick. I mean, they got 2 4s, 2 5s, 3 6s, but they don't have a second and a third-round pick, Pat. So is 11-23 from the Vikings enough if you're Arizona to move out of 4?
Yes, because at the end of that, I think you can capitalize on it if you wanted to move away from Murray in a world where they're getting hard to find, and he's got such a nice, fat, long contract. And most of the damage Arizona incurred themselves. So you get a guy right now. I went through all of his years. This is the fat year. This is why I thought maybe they'd like to do something like this. Then some of the paragraph 5s go down, and there's some roster bonuses. But in general, you're talking about $35 million a year for 4 years, and the 5th year's there with a number on it, but you could walk away from him. Plenty of time to spread that money out if you wanted to.
Mentioned this yesterday to David. I'm really intrigued by the Packers heading into this draft, Pat. They've got all those picks out of the first. Well, they had 5 picks out of the first 91. They were the youngest team in the league entering the league last year, made it to the playoffs. This is a team to me that with a sharp draft could really be challenging Detroit in that division.
They can, because the quarterback is blossoming and they have time. Just not that it means anything, but so they had 3 picks that I dealt with yesterday. We took Byron Murphy in the first round. We took Edrin Cooper, the linebacker, in the second round, trying to fortify that run defense. And we came back at their bottom and took Javon Bullard. So I liked the draft. It was 3 defensive guys, and I think that's the place for them to go. They certainly can go on the offensive side, but they are in very good shape. And they have a lot of picks, and they can make a lot of things happen. But to me, you need to get your run defense better. And they only have 1 or 2 defensive linemen that are worth much. And every time they have to take a breather, the other team runs for 10 yards a carry. So I think they have to go in the direction I took them.
Well, if you're the Packers, though, are you thinking hold on to all those picks and make the youngest team in the league even younger? Or are you thinking taking those 5 in the first 91 and turning it into 3 in the first 91?
I'm inclined to think of taking 3, and I wouldn't use them all to move up. I'd use 1 or 2 to bank on next year, just the old Belichick system. Trades your picks to someone who needs them now and get a round higher next year for them. So you trade 3rd rounders and take next year's 2nd. So you can perpetuate this big volume of picks, because when those bigger contracts come due and you got to sign guys, you'd like to have loaded up some deals. So, I'd look for 3 players and maybe 2 sell them for next year's stuff.
Finally, Pat, did Penix go in your first round of your mock draft?
Yes, he did.
Where?
Well, because we did not I didn't let Arizona trade out. They took Marvin Harrison. The Chargers took Neighbors. The Giants took Adunze. So we had 3 receivers go right away. And then what did I do? I owned Minnesota and I owned Denver, and I flipped with Tennessee and Atlanta and went up and got McCarthy in Minnesota at Tennessee's spot, and Denver went up to Atlanta's spot and took Penix.
Ooh, that's very high for Penix.
It's only high if you think he's average. I think he's extremely above average. I had a general manager tell me from the workouts, he went to every quarterback workout, and he said to me, the best arm I saw was Penix.
Well, I'm only saying that's high based on, what people are projecting in other mock drafts, that they think Penix is in the 20s or even falling into the second round. That's why to go top 10 in a mock draft seems higher than what I've seen elsewhere. That's all. But I'm with you, actually.
I agree with that. I was just making my point that they're making a mistake on the guy.
And I know he's going to be 24, but I don't know what to tell you. If you're a GM or a coach, I mean, you're not guaranteed to be around more than another year or two anyway. What do you care? If he can play, he can play. So, Pat, as always, appreciate your time and your insight. Have a great weekend. We'll do it again next week.
Yep. Take care, fellas. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio, moving the chains, weekdays 3 to 7, joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers here on Miller and Moulton. Nicki, Collen to preview the women's Final Four. Next.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Show's kind of flying by today.
Yeah, it is.
And that's a good thing, baby. The Lions have this super fan named Crackman. He's like he's always at the draft. They set him up with seats. Are you familiar with this guy?
No.
He's like in the fan Hall of Fame or whatever.
Did you say Crack Man?
Yes.
His last name's Crackiola, so they call him the Crack Man. And that's his thing. He's like, "Who loves you, baby? That's a good thing, baby." He's insane.
I loved the whole story about the Chiefs super fan that was Robin Banks.
Yeah.
As the wolf. Put the wolf suit on so that no one would recognize him in public.
So apparently on Monday, if you're in the southwest coast, the eclipse will begin around 1:40, and maximum eclipse will be just before 3 o'clock. And the eclipse will end at about 10 after 4.
So it lasts for hours? I thought it was just like a quick thing.
No, it takes like 2.5 hours. But peak eclipse is basically, give or take a minute or two, 3 o'clock, all throughout the state.
Good to know.
Michael, I love you. If David starts asking questions about Baylor's scheduling for next year, I'm going to jump through the screen and choke him. We're talking about Iowa and Connecticut. That's why we have her on. We'll talk about portaling because that's interesting.
Right.
But nobody outside of you cares who Baylor schedules in women's college basketball. And congratulations, it was 3 years ago today that Baylor beat Gonzaga.
By the way, how about Bill Bender ending the interview by saying, "Thanks, guys. That was fun." That's a nice compliment.
Yeah.
Bill does morning interviews. I saw him. He was booked at like 6:40 on a show earlier this week. Jake, they don't even schedule me. I'm no longer a part of Mad Dog Radio. I did one show in 18 months, and when it came time to renew my contract, I said, "No, I'm good." They hired the Toledo coach, Mello. It's being announced this morning. So he lost out on that gig. She's done a good job. She's got almost as many wins the last 3 years as he does. She's got 86 wins the last 3 years. Made the
All right, we got
tournament.
Nicki. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
Our final segment along the network, the Diamond District bonus hour, awaits at the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for listening. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. After being Coach of the Year in the WNBA, she's taken her talents to Baylor for the last 3 years. And this past year, Nicki and the Bears made it to the Sweet 16. She's Nicki Collen. She joins us. You can follow her on X at Nicki with 2 I's, Collen, Collen. Nicki, it's David and Mark. It's been a while. Hope you're well. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Well, we're good. We're going to get personal here. Okay, you need to bring your sense of humor. You and I were texting in recent days, and there was about 24 hours where we were incommunicado, and you said, "Sorry, I've been portaling." And so we're trying to figure out, is that like rock climbing? Is that like jumping out of an airplane? What whitewater rafting? How would you describe portaling?
Portaling would be being on the phone with players in the portal, trying to prepare for 2024-25 and go a little further than the Sweet 16. So, it's like the advantage of playing deep in the tournament is that you're having a good time. The disadvantage is the portal opens the day after the NCAA selection show is announced, and so you feel like you're a little behind. So just trying to catch up on recruiting.
All right, Nicki, just out of curiosity, is there any way this doesn't seem right from a standpoint of the portal opening when the tournament selection? Should they be moving this back so at least the tournament's over before the portal is open?
I think they should. I do. I think it hurts teams that have had good seasons, and that can be teams that, when you look at the WBIT and the WNIT, you've got over a third of Division I teams still playing, and so it's not ideal. I also understand from the student athlete experience perspective, like they want to carve enough time in there that things can get done so people can make decisions and be on campus for the start of summer school, which usually is around June 1st most places if you're not on the quarter system. So I kind of understand both sides of it, but it's definitely a disadvantage. But I will also say this: the more successful you are, the more appealing you are to a lot of the players going into the portal. So, you would rather deal with playing catch up than, and being able to sell something that you did that was really, really special than the flip side of that. So I do think there's a happy medium. I'd love to see us figure it out.
You've been a player, you've been a coach for most of your life. Where women's basketball is today, where is it and how does it feel for you, someone who's devoted their adult life to this game and this sport and this cause, if you will?
Yeah, it's really exciting. I think, I've heard people describe it as a moment. I don't believe that to be true. I think we're getting momentum. I think it was a slow build, but I think when you talk about, where technology is at and the social media platform that we have, the way you've seen more games on TV, certainly when I was growing up, there was maybe one women's game on a week. You just didn't see the game. And so to have a pro league be around as long as the WNBA has been around and as successful it's been, and I know people debate that all the time, but the reality is it's been the most successful women's pro league in any sport in the history of women's sports. And so, I think you have something that young people aspire to, and now you're starting to hear about superstars, and that's when the sport has made it. When you start talking about people and referring to them by their first names, you've had Kobe and you've had LeBron, but now we've got Caitlin and Paige and Juju, and so I think we're just in a unique space right now, where people are really paying attention.
All right, let's talk UConn and Iowa. How would you defend Caitlin Clark?
I don't know that anyone does it well, but I think what you can't do with her is give her threes. And she's going to take them. I don't know that you can stop, the 40-foot threes, but I think you have to make her play 2 by 2 by 2, and I think you have to sit on the drift path and make her finish. But I think they're at their best when she's hitting step back threes going left, when she's playing downhill and getting her teammates involved. And so, and I think you got to bring two to the ball a lot. I think that when they set a ball screen, if you can ice it and force her right, as good as she is, she's better driving right. But she shoots the step back with such rhythm to her left. I think 5 of her 7 threes were step back threes in that LSU game going left. So she's going to score. If you spend all your time running at her, they're going to have people that aren't shot creators make shots. But I think you have to balance that, and I think you have to change looks at because she's so talented and her IQ is so high. that I think you constantly have to change looks on her, whether it's an occasional trap on a ball screen. But what I don't think you can do is sit back and drop coverage, on ball screens against her.
Has there been a player like her? I mean, she reminds me a lot of Trey Young. Okay, Trey was the first guy that I saw on the men's side who I thought would come down, and from 35 feet, you felt like, yeah, this is doable. I mean, Ionescu was amazing. We've had obviously the Tarazis and the Birds, and we've had posts, but have we had a player with this dimension before?
I think the uniqueness of her is her freedom, and so I see the Trey Young comparison. I see the, gosh, if we're going to say what the knocks are, that they have had the same knocks, it's like people are going to say, do they play D? Because they're such offensive machines. I think she's most like Taurasi. I don't think Gino was ever going to be okay with Taurasi pulling up from 40 feet because Taurasi was surrounded by Bird and Cash and Williams and Asia Jones and maybe one of the greatest teams in the history of women's college basketball. So I don't think she needed to take those shots. But I think the uniqueness of her is just really her offensive freedom. But I see her swagger, her confidence. That's so Diana Taurasi to me, and so I think she's the best comparison on the women's side that I've seen. And I think, the crazy part about Diana is, we're 20 years out from her having played in college. So, when a lot of the younger generation thinks about Diana, they're thinking about Diana the last 5 or 8 years, and she still managed to be super effective in the W because she's so confident, because she's such a good shooter. But, she's become a little more one-dimensional over her career in terms of, being able to attack and be a shot creator for others and things like that. So that would be my best comparison. It's like Diana Taurasi with ultimate freedom to make plays.
The other side of the bracket is South Carolina and North Carolina State, and South Carolina is undefeated. How would you like being in their situation right now? Obviously, they're with Caitlin Clark getting all the publicity, with all the talk, the 45-minute media session yesterday. South Carolina's been able to go undefeated, go to the Final Four, and largely do it under the radar.
Yeah, I think certainly when they have stars on their team, they just have a lot of them, and I think the uniqueness of them, and I can say, there were a lot of similarities in some ways between what they've done and what we did this year in terms of having, 8 different leading scorers over the course of the season and not having anyone average more than, 11.5 points a game, but having 7 people average over 8. So sometimes you don't get to appreciate just how talented some of those individuals are. But I think for South Carolina, I think they have enough players on that team that were in this situation a year ago that are hungry, and they can play a lot of different ways, and they still have the ability to play through the low post, better than anybody in the tournament that's left. Because Cardoso is someone that you can truly play to and through, and so I think they can beat you a lot of ways, and UConn can get in foul trouble. South Carolina's hard to get in foul trouble because of their depth, and they can bring players in waves. And so, yeah, I think they probably feel really good. I don't, a year ago, it's all anybody talked about, was Aaliyah Boston and the seniors and that class and what they had done. And so they were the talk of the Final Four, even with the Angel Reeses and the Caitlin Clarks. And so I think to be on the other side of it, sometimes it's easier to quietly go about your business and accomplish what you want. So I can tell you, not that I'm a betting person, but my money would still be on them because I think they have all the tools to be able to win a game any way that a scouting report is thrown at them. A year ago they got beat because they couldn't make threes, and teams could pack it in on them. And now, they have the best 3-point shooter in America, and Pow Pow. Bree Hall makes threes. Tessa Johnson makes. I mean, they're deep, they're talented, and they can make 10 threes if they need to. They can throw it to the low post if they need to. So, I sure think Dawn Staley feels like she's got a team that can win it.
Nicki, final question. UConn, how do they match up with Iowa? People now have seen more of Iowa than they've seen of UConn. How things have changed. How did Paige Beckers and not very deep UConn team match up with Iowa?
I think they match up all right. I don't think that UConn, honestly, like I don't think that Iowa is a team that gets teams in foul trouble. It's not how they play. I think Iowa's advantage, and I think what they're sneaky good at that people don't always realize is they put consistent rim running, on you. Like they're going to put pressure on the rim with, Stolke at the beginning, but their wings will run the rim. Kate Martin will run the rim. Althofer will run the rim. Like, when you talk about depth, I think for UConn, it's like you got to send 2 back every time. I mean, that's first and foremost. I think Nika Mule is a decent matchup for Caitlin Clark. There's no really good matchups for her, let's be honest. But I think Nika Mule is a really good defender and a really committed defender. And I think where UConn can get in trouble at times is lack of size. And that's not Iowa. They're not someone that comes down and plays through the post like they did a year ago with Cesano. And so, I think they're balanced. I think they're a high execution team. I think they can make shots. I mean, they're playing a bunch of freshmen. I mean, I think what Gino's done with the injuries they've had and really having to rely on Ashlyn Shade and KK Arnold, who are obviously McDonald's All-American and really talented, but it just shows you what good leaders Aaliyah Edwards and Paige Beckers are and how efficient Paige has been. And so I think it's going to be a really, really good game. I think Iowa, over the Sweet 16, I thought they struggled a little bit in the opening round, but then I thought they just obviously found their groove and played at an incredibly high level in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. And so I think they're confident. But I wouldn't. I'll never bet against Gino. And I think when you look at their depth issues, they still start 4 McDonald's All-Americans and 1 international kid, and they bring a McDonald's All-American off the bench and Ice Brady. So they're pretty good.
Yeah, they sound it. Nicki, thanks for making time for us. We appreciate it. All the best to you and the family. Good luck portaling, and we'll talk again.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Nicki Collen, 3 years at Baylor. They just went to the Sweet 16. Lost a tough one in the Sweet 16 to USC. Baylor women's coach joining us here on Miller and Moulton, breaking down the women's Final Four. That's a first. We've been doing this almost 20 years. We've never broken down the women's Final Four as a whole before.
No, and I would argue we may never do it again. And I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not trying to be flippant, but the Caitlin Clark phenomenon goes away. And this will not be as big of a tournament next year. It's impossible for it to be.
And will that phenomenon follow her?
It will in Indianapolis.
Darn right it will.
Played golf with the guy, 68 years old, from Indianapolis. Was yesterday. We were talking Caitlin Clark, and he goes, "You know where she's going next year, don't you? Indianapolis." And I was like, "I'll be damned."
Well, they love their hoop. Okay,
right.
I'll bet you the Indiana Fever will have 8,000 season ticket holders for her games next year. Listen, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us this week. Have a great Final Four weekend. The Diamond District bonus hour is next.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. It's money. So money. So money. Got that swing down. Got the walk down too.
Yep.
Put it this way, David, on that. I don't think Pauline is winning a lot of spelling bees either, if you know what I mean. Looking at the Tigers.
Oh my God!
See that?
I'm sorry.
This is where I mean, in that union in particular, get rid of him. He makes the rest of you look bad. You're not helping the rest of the umpires by keeping this guy employed.
No. And he's taking a job away from somebody else.
We actually did an interview with Bill Bender on it, talked about it yesterday, and did an interview today on it at 7:38. You pretty much typed the update there, Kenzie.
So my uncle's making wings today.
Yeah.
For the whole gang. And he just texted me a picture of like he's starting to prep.
In the smoker?
I think so. But he goes, "You better eat more than 3." Referring to the time I was at your house.
3 wings.
I don't eat when I watch sports. I'm nervous. Even though Michigan State was up 20. Deep fried wings. I'm getting a text. He must be
Deep
listening.
fried.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good for him.
Just watching the highlight when Albert Bell got hit by a pitch and refused to go to first base because he's like, no. I ain't letting the pitcher off that easy. No. Umpire's like, no, I'm not going.
Now I want to see your uncle's setup. I need a photo of this fryer that he has. If he's just doing it in a...
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour on this Friday. Hope you've had a good week. Thanks for spending some time with us, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. They're apparently going to have an announcement later today. Carl Semesco not getting the Miami job. Looks as if he finished second to the Toledo coach. She's done a great job the last 3 years. She's won 86 games. Of course, Carl's won more, but, hey, whatever. So, expected to be good news for FGCU. Carl's out in Cleveland at the Final Four, and Miami's expected to be hiring the Toledo coach as their new women's basketball coach.
Maybe Miami will play FGCU now.
Maybe, but probably not. Probably not. I mean, Katie Meyer wouldn't let him get the job. You think she's going to let Miami schedule him? Come on now.
Well, I just meant a new coach may have a new attitude over who they schedule. That's
No,
all.
I know. It'd be nice. It'd be nice, and you would think the former Toledo coach would have an understanding about scheduling and how difficult
Correct.
it is for the FGCUs of the world, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but it's funny, Mark, as soon as they get that next job, how they immediately go, oh, no, man, don't want to be scheduling no mid-majors.
Not a good one. That's for damn sure.
Don't want to be scheduling the Princetons and the Toledos and the South Dakota States and the FGCUs of the world. No. They can play. They can beat you. No, we ain't doing that.
Can you imagine if FGCU women could get the Florida schools just to play them, even if it were all at the Florida schools? And I'm talking about USF and UCF. Just if they had to play roadies at all of them, you would think the I's and the A's would return a trip.
I have always thought, and obviously I've been proven wrong, I have always thought that the economics would outweigh the coaches' egos. And that I thought the athletic directors would step in. I do think, and I'll be curious with new leadership at FGCU, like the former AD Ken Kavanaugh, he really did not want to schedule 2-for-1s. He was against it, especially for his women's program. He felt we've reached a certain status, quite frankly. I mean, they went 4 years in a row where they finished at the end of the year in the top 25. He's like, why do we have to do 2-for-1s? And I would argue with him all the time. And I'm like, because you know why. It's a status thing. They're an SEC school. They're an ACC school. They don't do. That's why when Kentucky, she just got fired. She did 2 home and homes with FGCU. I think she went 1-3.
Look what it got her.
Right. Got her fired. It doesn't, even though, quite frankly, the FGCU program is better in Kentucky. They're better. They can play anywhere. FGCU will win that game more often than Kentucky. He's a better coach. They're a better team. But on paper, it just looks bad. And I always thought the Floridas, the UCFs, would eventually go, well, and I would argue with Ken about that. I would say, listen, Ken, tell you what, just for the heck of it, say you'll do a 2-for-1 and see what they say. Because I actually think they would have said yes. Because of the economics. You get people to agree to come to you and you don't have to pay them.
Right.
So you'll get on the bus and go 3-4 hours.
To me, it makes sense too, because then eventually, if your men's program gets their act together, you can do the same thing with the men and offer them 2-for-1 for the men. Right. And then all of a sudden, you start getting a few Florida schools on the schedule. I think it's better for the program.
Now, I understand the Miami's, well, first off, the Miami coach, he's not going to do it because his first month on the job, he came to FGCU and the Sweet 16 team beat him. And, the running joke, Larinaga shook Andy's hand and said, you'll never see me again. Okay. But ironically, he did schedule FGCU twice, but FGCU had to go to Miami. And FGCU actually beat him once. Okay. Michael Fly's third year, they went to Miami and beat him straight up on their home court. But I always wanted FGCU to put the pressure on the ACC, the SEC schools and say, we'll do 2-for-1. And in fact, and I even said to him, I go, on the men's side, I go, you may have to play the 1 at Hertz. You may not get them at Alico.
That's so?
But right, and I understand that means that they may have as many fans there as you.
They will probably have more. That's okay.
But to get them on the schedule and to get them in the 2-3-9, and I understand that's not a 2-for-1. That's almost a 2-0-1 if we go with our hockey.
It is a 2-0-1. But you know what it does, David? It gives all of those Gator fans, all of those Knoll fans, all of those Cane fans an opportunity, as we've always talked about. We just are looking for FGCU to be your second favorite team.
Right.
We know they're not going to replace your Gators, your Wolverines, your Buckeyes. We get it. But they can be your second favorite team. And all of a sudden, you go see them play the Gators here. Maybe you go show up and see them play Stetson.
And, once again, if they can tap into the money that's in the 2-3-9, but also, to me, the holiday tournament. I proposed this 10 years ago to FGCU. They always have a men's holiday tournament. And I said to them, I go, look at where we are. I go, call Army, Navy, and Air Force and bring them down here. I go, the community would go crazy to have Army, Navy, and Air Force down here for the holidays. I said, and you'd get people to travel to come here this time of year. Look at where Army, Navy, and Air Force are located. Weather's pretty nice. I said, and have that be your holiday tournament. I go, and Army and Navy don't play each other in that holiday tournament. They never play each other. Okay, so they each play Air Force, probably, and FGCU. That'll probably be how you have to schedule it, because Army and Navy play each other twice a year, so they wouldn't want to play a third time. But they don't, in basketball, they don't play Air Force very often. And so I said, have a armed forces holiday tournament down here. And think about those two games. I think the community, would love that holiday tournament.
That turnout would be...
It would be sold out.
Yeah,
no, it'd be standing room only. Army, Navy, Air Force? You serious?
I don't think you could do it without Army and Navy not playing one another.
But I don't think they'd agree to do it. Because, and also I think Army's actually joining their conference now, so they're going to play each other twice anyway. But I think they always scheduled one another twice a year anyway. But Army, Air Force, Navy, Air Force, and then Army, Navy. Plus, here's the other thing, Mark. They would all think, well, we got to come here and get a win. They'd look at FGCU as a win. Army and Navy would be like, well, okay, we'll each, we'll play Air Force, but we're going to play FGCU. We got to make sure we get a W out of this trip. And meanwhile, FGCU would get 2 sold out buildings and people talking about it at a time of the year when it's football, 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 football. So that's my hope going forward from a scheduling standpoint. Like, it's interesting, even in baseball, UCF will have nothing to do with Dave Tollett's baseball team. Will not schedule them. South Florida has no problem scheduling them. Miami is scheduled FGCU for years. Florida State will now, and I will say Florida State and Florida have actually come to Southwest Florida. Now, more times than not, they've come to Hammond Stadium.
It's fine.
I agree, but they've actually both played at Swanson. They've actually played games on campus and lost, and that's why they won't do it again. But they will play Dave Tollett. UCF, for whatever reason in baseball, will not schedule FGCU, and now they won't schedule them in basketball either, men's or women's. They did a home-and-home with Semesco, 8 years ago, and split it. Actually came to Alico and beat FGCU. And then I think this last coach, Carl, was able to get them on the schedule twice. He had to go to Orlando both times. He beat them both times. He can't get them back on the schedule.
But quite frankly, they're a Big 12 school now. You've got to give them a 2-for-1.
Totally.
100%.
I would even be willing to do 3-for-1, but I would insist that the one would have to be on campus. But I would literally be willing to do 3-for-1. But you got to play me at Alico.
One time.
Yep. Men's and women's. I'll do a 4-year deal with you right now. 3-for-1. But the one's on campus. Just so you know. We ain't going to Hertz.
And for both South Florida and UCF, you wouldn't need to go to Hertz. The Gators and Knowles different.
Yeah. And Miami. Yeah. It'd be.
I don't think Miami's different because Miami, they barely sell out when they played at Alico. No, I'm not.
No,
I'm not joking. They don't have a fan base here. We have to quit acting like there's this huge Miami Hurricane fan base. They're loud when they win, but there's not that many of them ever.
But the one thing that I count on, which doesn't always happen, is that, and I understand Miami basketball doesn't have a huge fan base, but if you're a Canes fan, even if it's just football, you don't get a chance to see Miami play sports very often in your backyard.
Agreed.
So that's why the one time a year that they come over and play FGCU in baseball. I mean, if you're a Canes fan, go. Yeah, just to see the uniform. This just in. We're into uniforms in this country. We root for helmets and shoulder pads.
In fact, we're going to start having Jersey Thursday on this show when Trent wears a jersey, and I may start as well.
I didn't realize you had any.
I have one.
So you're going to wear it every Thursday?
Yep. My Washington Generals basketball jersey.
We got to get David a Globetrotters jersey. Come on, David. Do it.
First off, he's not supposed to have that. Okay, that's his canoe story. He's not supposed to have that jersey.
Who was I supposed to give it to?
You were supposed to give it back.
They gave it to me.
But it was to use.
They're not even in existence anymore.
Listen, I was there when you said, I'm not giving this back. And I'm thinking, well, they're never going to ask him for it, but you're supposed to.
What number is it?
I don't even know.
I'm a big numbers guy.
Does it fit? Or do you look like the NC State post player? You look like DJ in it?
I look like DJ anyhow. I'm just a shorter version.
Hey,
what did you have on yesterday, Trent? I had lunch with Trent's dad yesterday. We go way back. And Trent was there as well. And he comes in wearing a what Dennis Rodman jersey? What team was that?
His high school.
His high school.
I've got every Rodman jersey there is except the Bulls. I even have Spurs and Lakers.
Except the Bulls.
High school, college, Pistons, Spurs, skip the Bulls, Lakers. I don't have Mavericks.
Is that because you won't buy a Bulls jersey as a Pistons fan?
Yeah. Yes. I also won't buy anything Jordan brand. I don't buy anything Jordan brand.
I love this kid. More and more every day, David. More and more every damn day.
Unbelievable. if he sticks with us to age 26, you're going to change the rules, aren't you? You're going to let him wear jerseys.
You're damn right I am.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Kenzie, I don't know what you're sorry about. We did a whole segment off of your question about Semesco. Thank you. Just got 14 minutes off of did Semesco taking the Miami job? No. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant, I say. In a dogfight in the fantasy hockey finals.
You have any wings? I think I've asked you that.
Yes. I have Larkin and Gots to
spare.
Gots to spare. Do you know what I hate about the par 3 contest?
What?
That country clubs across the country, including mine, have a par 3 contest on the Wednesday before the Masters. So I don't get to play golf next Wednesday because they're having a stupid par 3 contest at our course.
Well, hey, have prices gone down elsewhere yet or no? Now that season's over?
Season's not over yet.
Okay.
No, prices
May,
don't ever
is that
go
when
down.
I thought they fluctuated based on.
No, not really.
Okay, my bad.
No. No, we gouge year round. I mean, hotels and such will go down, but
Right. Okay.
a few more specials out there, I would imagine. So does he have, did he get a picture? I'm curious. Does he have a fryer?
Yeah, he sent me one. I'll text it to you, or I'll just show you right now.
Yeah.
This is the setup right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's a fryer on the grill there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, he's pretty serious about it.
That's fantastic.
We played euchre last night, and I was about ready to throw a fit because I got like 6 bad hands in a row, and we got skunked 10-0.
Get skunked?
Yes, me and my mom.
That's
Skunked.
fantastic.
Against Hemlock.
Got beat by Hemlock, huh?
Skunked by Hemlock, yep.
Oh, that's right. So your uncle probably doesn't play, or did he learn how to play? Was he forced to learn?
Yeah, he used to. but
Okay.
yeah, my dad is like, euchre is the best thing on the planet.
I'm
And
totally with your dad. I love it.
I don't disagree. Except we kind of waited. He taught us during quarantine, so we didn't really know until we were in college, which was the perfect time to learn.
Do people still play euchre in Kami? Is there still people your age that are playing that? Outstanding.
Yep. And it gets heated because everyone's boozing.
Yep.
RCB, I think they're playing a little bit of hardball with Stamkos. I think they're just trying to get him at the right price for them, and it's not the right price for him. And so I think they're going to let the off season happen, and then Stamkos is going to have to make a decision. Do I leave over a couple $1,000,000 a year?
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question. Okay, which one's the bust? Odds are there's going to be more than one, but top 4 quarterbacks. You got Caleb Williams, you got Jaden Daniels, you got Drake May, you got J.J. McCarthy. Nix and Penix are the other ones. You got the top 4. Which one's going to be the bust? Hell,
McCarthy getting 44% of the vote right now, David.
Wow.
Caleb Williams getting 33% of the vote.
I think Pat broke it down pretty good when he said you have to include where they're going. And the only one that we're sure of is Caleb Williams to Chicago. So maybe after the draft, we can revisit this and maybe kind of dive into. I mean, we're pretty sure on the others, but we don't know for sure. About J.J. McCarthy.
Well, I don't know. There were a lot of people yesterday that came out and said that Washington's done with Daniels. I mean, that he's their choice.
Okay.
So that really the draft is going to begin at New England at 3. So now I have the Patriots taking Drake May. And that's why I think Drake May is going to be a bust, because I think he's going to a bad situation.
You've been on that all week long. The Patriots should not draft a quarterback. Be patient. Let Jacoby Brissett get his head blown off and then draft one next year.
Yeah, they're going to be in position to top 5 pick next year. We'll just go roster right now. Name me a worse roster in the AFC than the Patriots. Just the AFC. So think about who the last place teams are. Okay, right now, Denver's probably projected as the last place team in the West. Last place team in the South is the Titans. And all 4 teams in the North finished above 500 last year. Right now, Titans roster, Broncos roster, Patriots roster.
Maybe Titans just because they lost Henry, but I'm with you.
It's Patriots, right? And I know they just spent $60-70 million in free agency. I don't know what to tell you. The roster's bad. It's not a good roster. They're not going to win games. They're not going to be as well coached as they were last year. And I don't know how much better the roster is going to be. They're not going to win many games. Seriously, if they win 5 games, I think he will have done a really good job. I don't know what their crossover NFC schedule is, but come on. How many times are the Patriots going to be favored next year? They're going to be favored 3 times next year? I don't know that they will. So I think you can not take a quarterback this year. I actually think you might get your hands, instead of being in position to draft the third best quarterback in this year's class, I think you might be in position to draft the best quarterback in next year's class.
David, their home, not home, their NFC opponents in the crossover are the Rams, the Seahawks,
Well,
the
then the
Cardinals.
Niners and the Cardinals, right? So they
Cardinals,
play the
Niners.
West.
And then they play the Bears as well.
Okay.
That's their extra game, if you will. Their over-under's 4.5.
Whew.
4.5.
I'm going under. I don't think they get to 5. Do you think they'll win a division game?
No.
That to me will be
That's the difference.
if they go over. They knock off somebody in the division.
And if you want to lose the AFC East, lose to the New England Patriots next year.
No doubt about it.
I could see them beating the Jets once, maybe, getting lucky. Because they own the Jets, historic. I know they didn't last year, but they split with them last year, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. But Belichick's final game in New England lost to the Jets. A
Right.
long winning streak he had against the Jets. But so that's why I don't want to throw anybody. I don't want to throw McCarthy, May, Daniels if I'm New England. I'm like, in-house, you got to be honest with yourself. You don't have to say it publicly, but in-house, you got to be like, yeah, this would not be a good situation for a young quarterback. I know you could bring him in and not play him. I get it.
So, David, if you had the number 1 pick and you're the Patriots, would you trade it?
Well, also, I'm not sold that Drake May is a franchise quarterback. There's a starting quarterback and then there's a franchise quarterback. When I'm drafting in the top 3, I need to draft a franchise quarterback.
So this draft is looking as if it's going to start at number 3 with the Patriots.
And then if they take Drake May, well, okay. Game on. Cardinals
Because
take
I think Arizona would love 3 quarterbacks to go. I really do.
Sure.
Because they want out of that spot. And then Denver and Minnesota are going, oh boy.
Well, now you're auctioning off McCarthy. Right.
Oh, what a league. This league always delivers. They're auctioning off JJ McCarthy, who is not Michigan was not a passing team at all. And they're talking about him being top 5.
But now I will say, I saw him live against Fresno State. I will say he made 2 throws in that game in which you went, oh, that's an NFL throw. I mean, they didn't ask him to do it very often, but he did make 2 throws in that game in which you went, oh, that's a Sunday throw. That's a good throw. He put one in a tight hole, and then he had to move a little bit out of the pocket, a couple steps to his left, reset himself, and hit a guy in stride 20 yards down the field, who then took it to the house. And you're like, oh, that's what you want to see.
But he wasn't asked to do it very often.
Nope.
You don't have a whole lot of film work in games, and he didn't play a lot of good teams to measure his success against.
You're going to judge 1 or 2 drives against Bama and the TCU semifinal when they fell behind big and he had to throw it, and he threw it well. But you have to rate the level of now, remember, Bama's got 2 corners who are both going to go in the first round.
That's a good point. So he was thrown against NFL talent in the playoff.
But you're Mark, there's so much more film on the other guys as opposed to the comparable Michigan film that you're going to watch. It's just so limited.
So then you're making decisions on shorts and a T-shirt, throwing it around?
Exactly.
That's dangerous.
Got the measurables, good-looking young guy, answers all the questions, the whole deal. Oh, he's a winner.
Well, and apparently he takes cold showers.
Right.
And Pat was like, none of these veterans are going to like that.
No wonder him and Harbaugh got along so well.
Absolutely.
Didn't realize he was so flaky.
And his age is helping him. Where all these quarterbacks are a little bit older, he's 21.
Right. He's like, let me get out of here. Let me start getting paid. Penix turns 24 at the end of the month, I think.
How old was Burrow when he got drafted? Was he 24?
I thought he was 23, but
okay,
who knows? Listen, if he can play, who cares? I don't care listen, if Brandon Whedon and Chris Weinke could have played, who cares that they were 28 years old when they got drafted? You're still getting 7, 8, 10 years. What more are you really expecting?
100%, David.
In a league where one Super Bowl trophy will buy you a career.
Yes. And does it matter if your quarterback is a 21-year-old rookie or a 24-year-old rookie?
Or a backup like Nick
You're paying
Foles.
them the same anyway.
In some cases, you're paying them a lot. Like the Cardinals. That contract kicks in
Listen,
this year.
no one's saying this, but wouldn't it be great if all of a sudden J.J. McCarthy's on the board at 5 and the Chargers have this crazy idea? Let's trade Herbert, okay, and save all this money because I get to, Jim, he's the best quarterback in the draft.
Quarterback in the draft.
You just said it, and you can get him at 1/3 the price of Justin Herbert. What do you say?
What wouldn't the Vikings give you for Justin Herbert?
They would instantly become one of the least favorite teams in the league if it was Harbaugh and J.J. McCarthy. Because a lot of people hate Michigan. It's not just me.
Man, it's just this between Michigan football and Purdue basketball. He comes across as such a nice guy, but when he talks Michigan football and Purdue basketball, he's a serial killer.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Are you ready for an event like no other? Join Jason and Todd at the Diamond District this weekend for their exclusive estate buying and selling event. It's time to dust off the old jewelry and dig out those fine timepieces you no longer wear. The Diamond District will pay top dollar for your unwanted treasures. Why let your valuable pieces gather dust when they could be putting cash in your pocket? That's not all. For those looking for exquisite jewelry at unbeatable prices, the Diamond District has you covered with a stunning selection of estate jewelry, meticulously curated and priced to sell. From dazzling diamonds and exotic gemstones to timeless Rolex watches, you'll find the perfect piece to elevate your style. Join the Diamond District this weekend for their estate buying and selling event, where they pay more for your jewelry and fine timepieces and sell for less. Don't miss out. Jason and Todd are in the store nearly every day and look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Whoa.
Opening day in Detroit. Love it. Place is a zoo.
Well, and not only that, hell, they nearly came home, 6-0?
I know. I wanted that so bad for a chance. And Penei Sewell's throwing out the first pitch, too. That crowd is going to go insane after the year the Lions just had.
And tomorrow they get the guy that scored the 50-piece to throw out the first pitch because no one knows who he is and no one will be at the game tomorrow.
That's a great idea.
Our announced attendance, 8,193.
And we thank you.
Yes. The Detroit Tigers, thank you, and be safe on your way home.
Did you see did you see opening day in Pittsburgh? It was like the city's flooded right now. Like the only way to get I don't know the ins and outs of it, but you got to go across the bridge to get
Right.
anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's just opening day was a mess, I guess.
Well, no, wait. I didn't think they'd played a home game yet.
Is it today then?
Today.
Okay.
Okay. Yinzer says it's snowing in Pittsburgh right now. What's a great idea. Once again, April 5th.
I just clicked on my Mount Lebanon weather. So
Okay.
it could be snowing, but it's 38 in rain,
There we go.
which is worse than snow.
No
There's
doubt.
nothing worse than mid-30s in rain.
No doubt.
I
And
don't
you
mind-
cannot sit in the stands with 38 and rain either. You can sit in the stands with 28 and snow.
It's supposed to be done raining by 1 o'clock.
Well, yeah.
But then it's supposed to rain again at 6, so you never know.
Being wet is the key. Like if you are wet, nothing is fun.
No.
But the snow, it's pretty. It's something to look at.
4:12 first pitch, apparently, for Orioles Pirates.
They may get some snow or get some rain later in the day then. Oh.
By the way, have you paid attention to how much publicity the Orioles AAA team's getting? The Norfolk Tides. So apparently in 6 games, they've scored 74 runs because they have the best farm system in baseball, and they kept 2-3 guys down that most
Will
people
be up.
thought.
Right.
Now, I will say they've given up 56 runs in 6 games also. But apparently they've in 5 of their 6 games, they've scored 9 or more runs. What are you laughing about?
No, it's just I'm thinking about Pittsburgh being underwater and those fans walking to the game.
Well, I will say you can walk over the bridge. Okay.
Right. But you got to park somewhere. You can't get certain places. Oh, and they're 6-1. The Pirates are finally off to a good start, and it's a C. Mark, our Tigers hosting the Sacramento Athletics at
They were asked, by the way, so what are we going to call you guys for the next 3 years? And they just said we're going to be the A's.
Just the A's.
The A's or the Athletics. There's going to be no.
The franchise formerly known as the Oakland Athletics.
So in the standings, what are you going to list them as?
A's.
Major League Baseball. You're going to list them as
Athletics.
A's? Athletics?
ATH will be there. That'll be their abbreviation on the scoreboard. Or just 3 A's, AAA.
I'd honk them off. I'd go SAC. You guys are a sack.
I love their unis too.
Here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Final segment of the week. Diamond District bonus hour, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Vote in our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton. All right. Who's going to be the bust at quarterback of this year's draft?
David, we got a question on the text line that before we get to all this stuff I wanted to get to because it's on JJ McCarthy. He says, do you put any stock in the fact that he played against future NFL players in practice every day?
Not really.
They couldn't hit him.
Well, also, very rarely do ones go against ones. They couldn't hit him. I will say, unlike at some other places, like Alabama a few years ago and Ohio State recently, he will actually throw to better wide receivers than he had in college. So that, I mean, there will be a couple of guys he plays with in which he goes, oh, wow, I ain't had one of you before.
There's no doubt there. But he may not have running backs as good as he had.
No, he may never have a better running game than the one he had when he was 20 and 21 years old. By the way, that's a guy nobody's talking about. I would draft Blake Corum. Now, I'm not talking about drafting him Thursday. But if I had, like, you're the Packers, you got 5 picks in the top 91, and I know you just made the deal with Josh Jacobs and all that, but that's really a 1-year deal. It's a series of 4 one-year contracts. Mark, I don't know. Blake Corum, every time I see Blake Corum play, every carry, he gets 1 or 2 yards more than I think he should get. And I understand.
And he's barely a top 100 guy on most people's lists.
I would draft Blake Corum. I just think Blake Corum is going to be a good NFL player.
He also had 3 really good seasons in college. It's not like he just had a strong senior year. I mean, his junior, senior, and extra year.
His junior year, I mean, until he got hurt,
right?
He was in the Heisman mix.
Yep.
His junior year. But I like him. I think he'll be a good, productive, and I think he'll be fine in a 2-back rotation because he did that those last 2 years at Michigan, even though he was the A-dog. I don't know. I think he'll be a very productive NFL player.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start in 1887. Today was a day that Anne Sullivan first teaches Helen Keller water in sign language on her hand while pouring the water on her, and we know the rest of that story. It's a pretty good one. This one's for me. Today in 1919, David, Jess Willard knocked out Jack Johnson in 26.
26.
In front of 25,000 people for the heavyweight title belt in Havana. 1984, Kareem breaks Wilt's record. 1987, Married with Children premieres on Fox TV.
It was a funny show.
It's still funny.
It is. It is. Wouldn't be produced today,
no,
but it can re-air today.
Today in 93, the Marlins win their debut game over the LA Dodgers. Today in 99, North Carolina beats Michigan for their 3rd title.
Wait a
2000.
No. What year?
99. 89,
99.
I'm sorry.
No.
No, 99.
No.
Oh, well, all right then.
93? Was this the anniversary of the Weber calling timeout? Because they beat him in 93.
Did I write down the wrong? Now you're making me go back. Hang on. Talk amongst yourself.
99, I think UConn beat Duke in 99. But 93, Carolina in New Orleans. Dean won his 2nd title. Weber called timeout.
93. I'm sorry. I wrote down the wrong year. That's my fault. 93. That's the timeout year.
Gotcha.
04, UConn wins the title beating Georgia Tech.
Awful game. Just awful.
It was in 2010 that Duke beats Butler 61-59.
He almost made that half-court shot. Hayward.
Would be the only shot we talk about in the tournament if it would have gone in.
Really would have been. For the national title from half-court.
The Wittenberg play wouldn't even be shown anymore. We would just show the half-court shot.
And it went off the backboard, right? It went off the backboard and then...
Oh, I know it went off the rim.
It nailed the front of the rim. Like it was inches.
Baylor won their title in 2021, and it was a year ago that UConn took down San Diego State in another awful game.
By the way, Baylor whacked an undefeated Gonzaga team, too.
Yes, they did.
They were trying to become the 76 Hoosiers, and Baylor whacked them.
That Gonzaga team was kind of like this year's Purdue team, I feel like. Like, it's like, if not now, when? That was a really good team.
Yeah, it was a great team. Suggs. Whew.
Betty Davis, Gregory Peck, Colin Powell have all celebrated birthdays today, and Henrik Stenson's 48. That's all I got, David. What did I miss?
Well, unfortunately, I will. 50 years ago today, Stephen King published Carrie. You know, that had a few people up in arms. But two famous people died today. Howard Hughes and Kurt Cobain, 30 years ago today.
That's a biggie.
That is a biggie.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Bonita Springs in Visaria Country Club, where Vincent Costa has been legally blind for more than 20 years. And one day after celebrating his 85th birthday on Easter, he played a round of golf along with his regular partner and notched a hole in one. He aced the 16th hole par 3 from 120, hitting a 7-iron. He's blind, hit a hole in one. David, have you ever had a hole in one?
No.
Me either.
I've holed out from the fairway for eagle, but no. I will say I lipped out. Like slowly rolling up and lipped out, and it was at one of those, charitable things, and I had signed up to win the car. Paid my money, took the 5-iron, hit it, landed it, 4 feet in front of the pin, took a hop, rolled, burned the edge, and was right behind the hole. For a new car!
Wow.
Yep.
For the bad, we go to Oregon, where officials attempting to repopulate a river with salmon had a little setback. A truck crashed and released 77,000 fish into the wrong body of water.
Tough to get those corralled back
It
together.
really is.
That's a lot of fish.
That's a lot of fish. Finally, the ugly. We go to Utah, where the story is always Utah. A 12-year-old girl led police on a brief highway chase a few days back. The 12-year-old took mom's car without her knowing, was going as fast as 70 miles an hour before they had to deploy road spikes to stop her. That had to be a fun conversation when she got back with mom. And that is today's Good, Bad, and Ugly. On today, April the 5th, 2024. Did you ever steal your mom's car before you were 16?
Are you kidding me? No. My mother would have beaten the tar out of me.
Only if you got caught.
Well, how do you not get caught? There's the two of us living together in a 2-bedroom apartment. There's one car between the two of us. It was parked directly in front of the living room window.
Yeah, you had mom always there. I just thought, did you ever steal grandma's car when you were at her house?
No. First off, my mother would have killed me if I stole her parents' car. She would have spared my life if I stole hers. She would have ended it if I stole her parents' car.
I think I was in 8th grade when I took my parents' car.
I was going to say, this sounds like a regular thing you did.
Well, I took it in 8th grade. We had a Z28 Camaro. And me and my buddy drove to Burger King. And I remember driving. I was too far. I was scared to hit the drive-through window. So I had to open the door to get the drive-through food because I was too far away from the drive-through. I remember that. And then we drove to his house. And his brother, who was 19 or 20, kind of busted us for taking the car and said he had to drive it back, only really realizing years later he wanted to drive the Camaro.
Oh, that makes more sense.
So it was, you get to float the Z28 back home and didn't let the kids take it.
And mom didn't know?
No. They were out of town.
Gotcha. See, yeah, I never had that. I'm not kidding. My mother left town once my whole childhood. Once. No, I never had that opening.
I had the opening and took the Camaro out for a spin. I was in 8th grade.
I was 10. She went to Colorado to see her best friend. I'm not kidding. It's the only time my mother ever left town while raising me. I had no openings like that. My only opening was Friday night. She worked as the nurse for an old rich guy. While he slept, she stayed in his living room and watched TV. She was there in case he had a
Right.
medical event. And so I threw parties late Friday night. She would be gone like 7, 8 o'clock at night and come back at 7 in the morning. And house was cleaned. Place looked great. I thought I was going to get caught because the place was too clean.
That was, by the time I was in high school, my parents would leave town. My mother would tell my dad to take her away for the weekend because she wanted the house cleaned. She knew I'd throw a party and that the house would be immaculate when she got home.
My mother had orange carpeting in the bathroom. It was hideous.
I mean, it sounds hideous.
It's unbelievable. Anyway, Tony Dryle threw up in the bathroom, and it mixed in with the carpeting, and none of us caught it. And for whatever reason, we didn't smell it. So I go to bed at like 4 in the morning, and 3 hours later, my mother wakes me up furious with me, grabs me by the back of the head like I was a dog, the scruff of the neck, and puts my face right in the barf and says, "What is this?" Last party at One Coster Boulevard, I'll tell you that. We had a good thing going too on Friday nights.
Who ruined it?
Tony Dryle.
How did you find out that it was him? Because if you didn't,
I asked him.
And he owned up to it?
I asked around, and finally, because I was grounded, I couldn't play on the hockey team, and I was the goalie. Tony Dryle was our star winger. Okay, and they're like, "What do you mean you can't play?" I go, "I can't play. One of you yahoos threw up in my bathroom." Okay, and Tony goes, "Oh man, I'm sorry, that was me." Good dude. I'm grounded for a month.
Yeah, no wonder you never took the car.
I'm telling you, would have ended my life. And remember, this is late 70s, early 80s. You can get away with that as a parent back then.
Absolutely.
That wouldn't even make the news. What happened to Moulton? I don't know. Just don't see him around anymore.
Miller and Moulton.
All right. Listen, your Wings, my Rangers tonight. Both teams need the points. Rangers to be the 1 seed and to avoid the Lightning, and you guys to make the playoffs. Phillies in Buffalo, Caps are in Carolina. Those are the games with major playoff implications in the NHL. 6 games in the NHL tonight. Big night in the association. Heater in Houston. They say Tyler Hero's going to play. Orlando's in Charlotte. Magic are, listen, take a look at the Magic schedule. Don't laugh. The Magic could still be the 2 seed. The Magic could win out. And they're only 2 behind Milwaukee for the 2. And a half a game behind Cleveland.
that'd be huge for them because they're not necessarily. I mean, they're a young team, so any playoff experience, if they could get a series win, it'd be huge.
Plus the franchise.
Yeah, that too, you could end up running into Philadelphia in the first round.
I know.
That's the only problem.
No, you want to be the 3. You want Indiana. That's what you want.
Damn right.
It's like the Grizzlies a couple years ago running into the Lakers. That was
or the Knicks in the 4-5. Let's face it, Knicks are shorthanded. If you're Orlando, take home court against the Knicks and take your best shot. So a bunch of games in the NBA, though.
All right, Final Four tonight. Who do you got, David?
South Carolina and Iowa. Don't think it's a great matchup for UConn. I think Iowa will wear them down because they only go 6 deep. And I think that UConn will be tired in the fourth quarter. I do think they will do a much better job, though, on Caitlin Clark. Like over under 30.5 for Caitlin Clark. Believe it or not, I'll go under.
I would too.
I think UConn, tempo-wise, they'll play this game in the 70s.
And it's Gino. He's going to have a plan. Whether it works or not, he'll have a plan.
I wouldn't be letting her get in the assist. I'd be making sure I take out that Gabby Marshall and that Martin. Don't let them make a 3 early to get any confidence. I'd let Caitlin beat you a little bit.
And I'm doing Purdue and UConn on the men's side. I think the 2-1s are playing Monday.
So do I.
By the way, if it's South Carolina, Iowa, who are you taking for the Natty Sunday
South
afternoon?
Carolina.
Yeah, I will too. They'll get revenge, even though they have 5 new starters this year compared to last.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents.